Hi there, my name is Phixfox and welcome to Heroes of Might and Magic 2, folks. I'm very excited to come back to you, recharged, revitalized, and ready to have so much fun with Heroes of Might and Magic 2. And today is going to be me returning to Lost Continent. It was the last scenario that we played on stream, and it was, without a doubt, the very worst loss that I've ever had on stream. Not on camera, per se, but definitely the worst loss on stream. And part of the reason why is because everything is covered up. It's an extra large map, and so my expectations weren't met in the sense that I thought I'd have tons of room to run and all these free resources to pick up, but everything is guarded by some neutral creature. And then we rolled as the Knight faction, and that presents some very unique challenges, and we just got off to a start that was irredeemably slow. And so, today, I'm very excited to go back into Lost Continent and give it a second shot. And I'm excited to do much better. I think that I can be a better, stronger, wiser Heroes of Might and Magic 2 player. And with that being said, let's dive right back in. So here we are. We're going to hit new game. We're going to go to standard game. Let's see. We're going to go to XL and we're going to go down to Lost Continent. This is a 6-player map, extra large map. This comes from the Secession Wars, and this is a general melee bloodbath. Kill all your enemies and do not be killed yourself sort of a deal. This is denoted as being a hard difficulty map, and it reads as such: 6 factions have established a foothold on a huge unexplored continent. Can you eliminate the other 5? And we were one of the 5 that were eliminated last time. Let's do much better this time. We're going to put this on impossible difficulty, and remember that we rolled not as the green sorceresses, not as the yellow necromancers, or the orange barbarians, and of course we cannot play as the purple warlocks or the blue wizards. Folks, we rolled as the red knights, and I see no reason why we should throw in the towel and say it's impossible. I, as Phixfox, have to believe that even with all the advancements and changes with FHeroes2, that every map is winnable with every single faction. Otherwise, I'll be very sad. So, you have been ordered here to claim this land in the name of your king and recover any riches that you might find. However, 5 other kings and queens have also sent their heroes to this land, so you must watch out for them as well as the natives. And oh boy, those natives gave us fits last time. I think that this boat here is a really good opportunity for us. I think that we're going to want to hop into that as soon as possible. The knights do really enjoy having a ton of wood. The issue that we ran into last time is that we had absolutely no ore. I think that this map, has many random resource piles that you can find, but there's no guaranteed ore for the Knight faction. And so if you get a little bit unlucky, then you have 1 ore mine nearby to the south you can potentially get 2 ore per day with, but that's going to put you very, very well behind your enemies, and that's going to be kind of a big problem. So we're going to have to hope we get a little bit more ore this time than we did last time. Dimitri the Knight, level 1, 2 attack, 2 defense, 1 spell power, 1 knowledge. He's going to have 4 of the archers and 49 of the peasants. Of course, basic leadership and basic ballistics, as every good knight starts off with. We do also start off with the shipyard, and we do have the 1 peasant hovel here. We are going to hopefully get enough gold soon to get the archery range. We have the opportunity to pick up another magic user. In the previous Lost Continent playthrough, Wilfrey was the wizard that we ended up choosing, and as a main hero, I think that that was probably mistake number 1. I think that we should not overlook the value of a might-based troop, a barbarian or a knight in this playthrough, especially when we know that the enemies are going to pick up so many dragons so soon. A magic user is going to be highly ineffective trying to deal damage against a magic user, and so we're going to ignore them as much as possible. I think that Dimitri is going to adventure with me, so since these are 2 speed creatures and these are 2 speed creatures, we're not going to leave anybody behind. Let's go over to this gazebo, because I believe that there's some gold right below it. There is. An old knight appears on the steps of the gazebo. My liege, I will teach you all that I know to aid you in your travels. That's going to be 1,000 experience. By the way, I love in Horn of the Abyss that they have brought back the gazebo. I am a little bit sad still that you have to pay, I think, a little bit of gold in order to get that bonus. But we're going to pick up +1 to our attack skill, and I think that Estates is going to be the clear choice here. On day 1, an extra 100 gold for the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 turns is going to be critically important. So let's pick up the Estates now. And I think that the obelisk is maybe something to deal with down the road, but for now I just simply don't care nearly as much as maybe I ought to. We're going to choose the 1,000 gold rather than giving the treasure to the peasants. The gold is going to be so critically important on impossible difficulty, no resources to be had otherwise. This wood, I think that all of our wood is going to come from the sea, and there's another sulfur mine here to the south, I know. Here's the ore mine. I'm going to have to see exactly what's guarding it. Maybe there's a bit of RNG that comes down to who guards what and how big or how bad that is to deal with. I don't know if there's more gold to be had. I would love to pick up the well because that's going to be a requirement for the blacksmith. But in the event that we just don't have enough gold, I think I'd rather have a second hero more than I'd rather have maybe one additional round of building. The archery range feels right out. I'm going to hedge my bet. 1,000 gold going down to 0 gold. You're going to want the archers. If I pay only the 500 gold now, maybe that's going to get me another hero sooner, and that hero can then later get into the water. I'm going to take a risk. I'm still going to build something that's going to progress me along the tech tree, but I'm also not going to go jumping in with both feet first. And we are going to go on to day 2. So let's see what it is. A pack of gargoyles. Wow, I don't know. I think that your very best fight here is probably dwarves. 20 hit points, call it 4 to 6 defense. I think maybe it's 5 defense for the dwarves. If you have ranged troops, you can do an awful lot there. A pack of gargoyles is going to jump on us immediately, and we're not going to get any effective damage off with our ranged troops. That's going to be a little bit of a tough fight. So instead, let's ignore that for now. We're going to see what we can pick up in a moment. And I think there's some possible resource opportunities here. It looks like crystal and gems. I believe that this and this patch are both random resources. If one or both of these were ore, I think that we'd be in a very excellent spot. Because we've more or less missed out on that, I think that we feel pretty bad. 1,000 gold here. There's one treasure chest we're going to pick up tomorrow. I think that we're going to spend the gold now. Spend the gold and then hope that we get more than just 1,000 gold here with this treasure chest. Oh, and there's actually a second one up here. That's excellent. So we're going to scour the area, fall upon this hidden treasure cache. And once again, we're going to take the gold there. And this is going to give us the opportunity to pick up, in this case, it is going to be Mandigal. Having the 6-speed boars just feels like a good decision here. I'm going to send him with peasants more than anybody else. It's going to be 5 peasants. And the reason why is we found out in the previous scenario that the AI has gotten much better at fighting amongst the water. And if Mandigal picks up a nice artifact, I would really hate to simply lose it. I would love for him to pick up whatever freebies he can and then rehire him if I so desire. Having 1 peasant in 5 stacks is going to help me retreat as necessary. Folks, we are out of gold, but then again, we have no ore, we have no wood. What can we possibly do? Hope and pray. Hope and change, folks. Hope and change. That's what we go for. 2,000 gold, that's not bad, but not so great. I think that we can go south just a little bit. And folks, I see our sawmill here. There is ore directly below that. I don't recall, funny enough, if there's guardians on the way to the sawmill. I don't think we have to go through the gargoyles if we don't want to. And so should we not? I don't know, I can't say. 10 wood and 500 gold from the flotsam. Another 5 wood here from this flotsam. And I'm going to stay away from this flotsam. I think it's a little bit too far out of my way. I seem to remember that there's a big patch right about there. And so we're going to head in a sort of easternly direction there as we consider our options. At least we're going to get the blacksmith by the end of this week. Wood is not going to be a problem. I think that we must pick up the tavern. It is another prerequisite, much like the well is a prereq for the blacksmith. The tavern is a prereq for the swordsman, which, by the way, I think it's pretty clear that Ambrose the Knight, I mean, he just looks like a swordsman. He looks like a guy that was a rabble-rouser in the tavern, and he decided, you know what, for king and country, I will become a hero. And, I mean, he's obviously led his forces to some degree of success. If he has done that, his 2 attack and 2 defense don't just come from nowhere. So, Ambrose, you are an inspiration to all of us, and I hope that this finds you very, very well. I wonder if any of these portraits were actually based off of anyone else, by the way. As we take a look here, it looks like it's going to be lots of veteran pikemans. It looks like we are going to have to go through the pack of gargoyles. What a rough fight. Don't love that. We're going to head north as we consider our options. But I do wonder if some of these portraits were based off of any heroes. Of course, I believe Sir Mullick from Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was a supervisor, a boss that they had for the project, who always encouraged their workers to be speedy. And of course, Sir Mullick does have a +2 speed as his hero bonus, which is pretty funny. And so again, I wonder if there's anybody here who was a portrait sitter, the person that posed for the portrait for any of these heroes here. We have pulled the Shipwreck Survivor from certain death in an unforgiving ocean. Grateful, he rewards you for your act of kindness by giving you the Ring of Power. That's going to be +2 spell points per day to the hero. Good to know. 5 additional wood there, and sea chest and so on and so forth. I think that getting another hero into the water is not a bad idea. We do have 30 wood, and again, with no ore, any amount of troops is going to be valuable. I suppose I could take a quick look here. Dimitri is going to have to swing back in this direction anyway. I don't see the point in going through lots of halflings. We didn't really go in this direction last time, and I don't think we're going to do that at this time either. By the way, these two fights with the elves and the magi are way too much for us to deal with. Our poor knight troops just don't have much to their name, so we're going to let them set sail, hope for the best, and hopefully to the south we're able to find some really nice things. We will see. So folks, that's going to be the end of day 6. We are on to day 7. We're going to pick up, it looks like, oh, I wonder if I should start to invest in the experience here. I think I will. We're going to pick up, well, that basic navigation sure looks a lot better than it otherwise would have. +1 defense, and we're going to take the advanced leadership. That's actually not too bad of a pickup. And it's going to be Dimitri who's going to be ready to go tomorrow with whatever troops he has. Hopefully this pack of gargoyles stays nice and small. We will see. Flotsam and wood, 500 gold. 5 wood, a little bit of extra gold there. And then what can we find to the south? I know that there's another patch up here. I will set sail for the upper left patch. It's going to be pretty far out of our way for Ambrose, but it will keep him safer longer. So if an enemy does pop into the water, he won't be as bad off as he otherwise would have been. Folks, this feels like too slow of a start. I can tell you right now that this feels like far too slow of a start. I feel like if you're not able to get enough early ore in order to pick up your pikemen at least, then you can't possibly fight this fight. With peasants and archers and halflings, I don't see this going well for us at all. I wonder if it's even worth it to bring these archers on the road. Is 107 peasants enough to help me out here? If I go into closed formation like this, if I split the halflings, maybe this will be enough to slow down some gargoyles. Maybe the peasants just have one good fight in them. We save all these archers for a future fight. This might be the best thing. Oh no, we went from a pack into lots. Lots. Well, that means that we're about 20 to probably 24 gargoyles. I mean, that's potentially 400 hit points worth of gargoyles. 20 hit points per gargoyle. No, 15 hit points per gargoyle. And they're very tanky. They don't do a lot of damage, but you're dealing with peasants. They don't need to do a lot of damage. And even if you go through them, then you still have lots of veteran pikemen to deal with. Ah, it's so rough. That's so rough. We are going to fight this fight because I don't think we have any choice. If we don't win this fight, then no harm, no foul. We were probably pretty much too slow anyway. I suppose I could always get another hero, Maximus the Knight. I could get Kalindra the Wizard. Boy, I just don't think that these troops are going to be what moves the needle for me. And I don't think that a spell would help. Well, we can't get the ore anyway. You see what I'm saying? It feels like we just need one good quality patch of ore somewhere in order to solve all of our problems. And this one just isn't it. And there's one here, one here. Oh, and maybe there was one more somewhere else I'm missing out on. But we're going to give this a shot. We're going to do the very best we can. And let me not forget to just triple check that we are on closed formation. There we go. And let's see how well or how poorly we do in just a second here. So, it says it's going to be a glorious victory. And these amounts of gargoyles, I mean, peasants are surprisingly tough. I wonder how well this strategy of keeping our forces close together and more or less abandoning the halflings to their doom, I wonder how well or how poorly this is going to do. Right now, I am going to keep the boars right here. I think that this is the best place for them, at least for this strategy. 9 halflings down to 6. I do want to just make sure that the peasants line them up and knock them down. 4 gargoyles goes down. We're down to, looks like 89 peasants. Yeah, the halflings are going to take a beating, but that's kind of what their job is. Everybody's going to skip rather than attack. We don't need to take any retaliations if we don't have to. Down to a couple gargoyles left here. I don't think we do. We do enough damage to kill those gargoyles there. Pity. But at least we're not going to take this retaliation on this bottom stack of 6. So we're here. We are still killing 1 full stack. And so it is going to be a victory. And we even did save a few of the halflings, but I don't think that you can win this fight with just 60 peasants. Could we have won this fight in the previous week? Is Phixfox, for the very first time in his life, underestimating the value of the peasant? It could be. It could be that I am underestimating the value of the peasant. Maybe I had an opportunity to do even better and I didn't take it, and I should have taken it. It's possible. I don't think that there is any bad terrain on this map. We sure didn't see any in the previous scenario. Then again, mysticism is especially bad because we don't really plan on going into spells too much. We're still going to take the mysticism and we're going to explore and see what we can find. Once again, we are out and about here on the water. I was discussing with someone on YouTube in the comments. Oh, and I'm going to have to go and figure out who that was in just half a second as we do see the armored gauntlets. But they proposed that you can use the boat to go and head immediately to the Warlock Castles from here, about 8 or 9 days over here. And I think that that works on Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold. I don't think that that's going to work here for FHeroes2, and here's why. I think that that does not work for FHeroes2 because the couriers and the different other roles that the enemy heroes are assigned, I think that they will focus instead on being safe and being ready to go by day 1 of the new week. And that means being close to their castle. And so we're not going to be able to land and just simply surprise the enemy and take their castle before they're able to do much about it. I think that unfortunately, that's a strategy that does work for Heroes 2 Gold, but not for FHeroes2. I'm very grateful for the folks who are playing both versions of Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold and FHeroes2. I personally am a huge fan of FHeroes2. But if you like Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold, the important thing to note is that there are strengths and weaknesses with both versions, both games, and I want you to just play whichever game makes you the happiest. Whichever one makes you feel the best, that's what I want for you. And so there's advantages you can exploit, there's weaknesses you can mitigate, so on and so forth. Either way, I just think that that particular strategy that was discussed is just not nearly so viable here in FHeroes2 as it is in Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold. Let me just check real quick to see who that was that made that excellent comment, because I think it's the right idea, and I think that it absolutely works when we are talking about the original Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold. I just don't think that for FHeroes2, it's really going to be the strategy that I think will work the very, very best for us. Let's see. Who was that? Falafel? Okay, falafel is like a dessert, I think. I don't think that that's your name. I don't think that your name is Falafel, but it's Knallauffall. As a knight, you have to focus to get the dragon castles to the northeast as soon as possible to win. And we had a really nice back and forth, and we talked about, these strategies. I played the scenario 10 times, they said, on more with all sides. Barbs are growing too fast. Fight the Warlock Castles from the seaside. And I think, I think that he's not wrong. Or she. I don't think that they're wrong. I just think that for FHeroes2, it doesn't work out as well as you would have hoped. Maybe if on day 1 you roll a sorceress here, maybe with the advanced navigation you can get all the way over there, but as you're going to find out with our seafaring friend here, Mandigal, he's going to go as far as he can, and when you see the Warlock Castle, you're going to say, yeah, that's pretty far. I don't think you could have ever really reached that in a pretty reasonable amount of time. maybe you disagree with me. And I think that all the people that take the time to comment, and especially after I take my worst loss ever, do I have any room to say that I'm right? No. Should I try other strategies? Yes. Do I still feel like this is too slow of a start and I've already messed this up? Oh, absolutely. But I do feel like this is a little bit of an RNG map again when it comes down to what ore you can get. Because for now, we're picking up 2 ore per day. We're up to 4. Tomorrow, on day 5 of week 2, we're finally going to get to pikemen. It's pretty slow. It's pretty slow. Very interesting thing I just realized as we do get the +1 attack skill, and I'm going to grab the diplomacy. Folks, last time this was a Warlock-based castle, and if there's 1, 2, 3 sulfur mines, then Warlock Castle, you can build that up from scratch, but again, this is a map with tons of RNG. If this is now a sorceress town, that is much less intriguing because the sulfur is not going to help you. And that was my strategy last time, and I was hoping that maybe I could kind of rush an economic advantage, get closer to Sherman quicker, and be effective. I don't think I thought that was a viable strategy. Now I'm not so sure. Purple Castle of Hillstone. For the first time we see Hillstone. Pretty interesting there. I'm trying to get a little bit closer. Trying to get a little bit closer to the coastline here. I think that more of the resources are closer to the coast than further away. We're up to 9,700 gold, and that feels like way too much. Again, when I have nothing to spend my gold on, that's a problem. For the first time, we do see purple hop into the boat right here. Astra, the sorceress, is going to be somebody that Mandigal runs quickly away from, but as the fact that she's a sorceress, I don't think we're going to run too far too fast. But we do get in sight of Hampshire. So folks, to go from here on day 1 to here by day 1 of week 2, I think that's a little too far away. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And I may be back to the drawing board very, very quickly. But if I do, well, you're going to see it because every loss I've had is on camera. Pretty much so, too, is every win. Although not all. Not too long ago, we were playing Pyramid on stream, and I didn't actually record that video, and therefore I was not able to upload that to YouTube at the time. Since then, I've realized that I am able to move videos from Twitch over to YouTube if I so desire. It takes a little bit of finagling, but it can be done. But I did not know that at the time, and the video that is available on Twitch for a certain amount of time did expire. And so that playthrough of us playing Pyramid is lost for all time. Even though it was a win, even though it's in my high scores, if you weren't there for the first time that we played and beat Pyramid, you're not going to find it now because it's gone. It's gone, man. It's gone, 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 just like your dog. My dog? I ran him over on the way in. I think that that's a reference to the Chevy Chase film Christmas Vacation, which is, it's apt for this time of the year. I'm not a huge Chevy Chase fan, and especially, well, I wasn't a huge fan of his type of humor prior. Of course, he was a big centerpiece on SNL, and then he was embattled with some issues, comments that he'd made, things like that. So I didn't really have new reason to start to like him, and I didn't really like him before. But hey, I can recognize a good movie when I see one, and the Vacation series is pretty good. It's pretty good. If anybody ever says, hey, we're going to Wally World, either they mean that they're going to Walmart, the store in the United States, or they are going to go on a vacation, I'm sure, with plenty of hijinks. Rather than get the Mage Guild or the statue, we have to save our ore for the armory. This does give us some time, though, to pick up a marketplace. It would be an awful shame if we had so much wood and we could not exchange it for something nice. But folks, month 1, week 3, day 1. This is too slow. There's no way. There's no way that we're doing any better this time than we were last time. There's no way. And I don't even mind losing Mandigal here. I don't. I do mind that my only ore patch is right here, and lots of veteran pikemen are guarding it. That's a huge fight. That's a huge fight when we have, peasants and boars and halflings. We got lucky that there were gargoyles here. That is luck. It could have been way worse It wasn't, but it could have been. I think that we have to get a little bit more RNG. I think that there's resources here and here. I think we have to just restart. I think this is way too slow. This is way too slow. But I still don't want to try and put all my eggs into one basket and go for the seafaring route. Here, this has changed a little bit. This has changed. This artifact has changed. You tell me. I'm very interested to find out what you folks think, as we do see a necromancer and a knight here. What do you think about RNG from scenario to scenario? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? I do like that different playthroughs are different from game to game. This is also different, by the way. But also, I feel like on a scenario like this that somebody has made, you have a pretty unique opportunity to make sure that you are delivering the experience that you want for your player. Now, of course, you could immediately just say, Phixfox, get good, right? Like, just play better, do better with what you have. And generally, I plan on that being the scenario, as we do see lots of nomads here, which is a really tough fight. But I also think that, as we see Ore, you have a chance to deliver the exact experience you want. And when you know that you have purple warlocks starting in one spot and yellow barbarians and blue wizards and all this, you could have thrown me a bone as the knight faction and given me just enough ore to get by, so that way I don't have to luck into the right RNG to win the scenario. I'm just saying. So because we know that ore is on the way, I'm going to pick up the well right now, and even getting pikemen by week 2 is going to be massive. Not just a small thing. This is huge. 10 ore. That's wonderful. That is even enough ore to pick up the blacksmith and a mage guild. I don't know how valuable a mage guild's going to be. In the first playthrough, we ended up trading a knight-based hero, or a might-based hero rather, for Wilfrey, which ultimately blew up in our faces because, hey, the enemy is going to get to dragons very, very quickly, and that's going to mitigate a lot of the value that a spellcaster will give for you. Pivoting in that case doesn't really feel like the play. But, and I say this with all humility of heart, but it would be nice to be able to use some spells maybe to help pick up this area. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered, and how I answer them best, I'm just not sure. Folks, we're going to have to pick up the tavern. We're going to have to send a hero out into the water. It might as well be Sandro the Necromancer. I think that his troops are going to be useful in the boat. They're not going to be useful here on land. And we're probably going to pick up the other knight-based hero in just a moment. We're going to hope that this flotsam here is going to get us our sword men from the armory in just 1 second. Let's get the tavern now and hope that there's some sort of wood in this flotsam. Could you imagine if we go to the wood and there's nothing in the flotsam? My lord, we found all this wood in the ocean. Oh good, how much wood did it return us? None. What? Yeah, none of it's usable. Not one little bit. You're kidding me. Nope, it's not usable. It's wood though. Yeah, it's wood, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Folks, this fight previously, I forget what this was just a second ago, but this is a much better fight for us. This amount of RNG feels great. I don't think I need to lose any peasants here. We're just gonna end up skipping a lot. Huzzah. Huzzah. My archers feel like they are the coolest, biggest, baddest people on the planet because they are shooting down these foes before they even get to us. It's not that you're so tough, it's that our enemies are so weak. We are going to take this one hit here and call it a day. 6 peasants goes down. Okay. Titans here. I don't think that artifact is worth it at all. So I'm very happy to see that we don't have to worry about it. We search through the flotsam but find nothing. You see what I'm saying? It's a pile of wood in the middle of the ocean. It must have been all knobby and full of twists and turns and knots and very unworkable wood. This flotsam, though, has gold in it. Wait a second. I guess I'm not understanding what flotsam is. Why is there any amount of gold in the flotsam? Were there pearls? Like oysters with pearls in them that were like attached like barnacles to the floating mass, and then we sold the pearls for gold? I mean, I need some clarification here. Perhaps this is one of those times where I need to suspend my disbelief so that way I can enjoy the game as it was intended by the game designers. But alas, perhaps not. Folks, I just realized that we are still going to be 5 ore short. But with these forces, I think that we are looking at nomads on day 1. Maybe we pick up a little bit of ore here. Maybe we just go grab what we can and come right back. Let's do this. Let's go for one of the 4-speed pikemen, which is, believe it or not, huge upgrade to our speed. And then this pack of zombies is actually very beatable. Pack of Medusa, that's a tough fight, but that's a big reward here. Oh, and we can pick up this treasure chest. Statue is not good. Marketplace, I'm going to assume that that's going to be good later when we pick up even more flotsam. It's going to be my assumption. I think that I'm not going to be too disappointed with that either. By the way, can we get a really nice shipwreck survivor out here? Can we get the battle garb of Andrin? Can we completely prove that Phixfox is RNG reliant by getting the battle garb of Andrin and then finding out from there that, oh, you don't have to be good if you just get lucky. That is massive. That is massive. If you get 1 pile of ore in the first week, you're doing great. If you get 2 piles of ore, you're doing fantastic. Folks, that is going to be an armory. And to this point in the previous playthrough, we were at week 3. And we had just gotten our pikemen. Now, here in week 1 of this new playthrough, we're getting swordsmen. That's too much variance. That feels like too much variance for me as a player if I'm trying to play a game like this. Specifically a scenario. That feels like a lot of variance. Usually I don't mind. I mean, I needed to get through peasants in order to get to this, and that's variance, and variance is good. Variance means replayability. But again, I think you can tailor make the experience on this map just a little bit more if the map designer had so intended, if they had so desired. I don't know what's around here, but I think that these 38 peasants and these 4 archers are not going to be particularly useful. Let's just go find whatever freebies we can possibly get. Treasure chest, we're going to pick that up in a second. This is going to be the town of Winterkill. That's going to be necromancers. I'm wondering what this one's going to be this time. I do not know. I cannot say. It's going to be 1,500 gold here in the sea chest. It's going to be nothing in the flotsam. Skull cap, not too bad. Mind influencing spells are halved. That will be good if we were able to pick up, say, a blind. That's going to reduce the cost of that by an awful lot. I'd love to get this gazebo. I think we want to attack the nomads still. We got to go south. I'm going to grab the gazebo. 1,000 experience. We're going to pick up the leadership and the +1 defense. We're going to come out tomorrow here on day 1, and we're going to be ready to rock and roll. Oh, folks, could you imagine? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 bits of flotsam on the map. If Sandra had focused a little bit more on the wood, we might have even got cavalries. Again, last playthrough, week 3 before you can get pikemen. This playthrough, we could have gotten cavalries if we were a little sharper. Okay, still, I like my chances. Let us continue. That's going to be the end of week 1. Folks, we are on to week 2. Month 1, week 2, day 1, and this is going to be Ogre Growth +5 when it is week of the Ogre. Not too bad. Gold here still. I think that we're going to have Sir Gallant be the primary hero. Because I know that the barbarians are here in the wasteland, I'm going to send Ambrose as far in this direction as he can. I want to take all the barbarian stuff before they're able to get to it. This flagged alchemist lab, though, is highly concerning. That seems to me to be a bit of an issue. 10 wood here. Do we get lucky? We go for the flotsam. We're not able to walk out of here with cavalries today. It's going to be just a little bit too far. We're going to come back, but we are up to the upgraded archery range. That is a huge bonus because now we did not purchase archers, so we have not lost 1,800 gold to upgrade these guys twice. No, we're just going to have to spend the 500 gold to upgrade these ones. And instantly, I feel much better about my chances in these fights. Yeah, much better. Instead of fighting with peasants and things, we're now fighting with swordsmen. We're fighting with pikemen. Yes, yes, this is a fight that I feel much more comfortable with. And we do have to, I think, focus on the ore first. But I'll talk about some opportunities we could have potentially done in just 1 second. Let's fight this fight. Those losses look pretty acceptable. I don't think I can do much better because these are 6-speed creatures. So long as we can keep the rangers happy, healthy, and alive, we're going to feel okay. Let's focus on this bottom stack here. I don't think that we can stop this top stack from going on in. And maybe I just sacrifice the peasants. Yeah, I'm just going to move the peasants to right there. The rangers don't even take a loss. 42 of the peasants go down. 2 hit points remaining. Are we going to kill 2 nomads? Close, no cigar. It is going to be 5 damage. 1 of the rangers is going to go down right there. Let's just let the peasants stay alive for one more turn. And that good morale is coming out. Thankfully, we spent that time to go to the gazebo. And folks, all things considered, that fight went about as well as I could have hoped for. 60 peasants down the drain. I'm sad, but I'm not that sad. Could I have underestimated peasants this whole time? You know what? If I have underestimated them, I will be happy to admit my mistake. Hopefully, when we talk about the people that are successful in life versus not, as we pick up +2 ore per day, I truly believe that there's a lot to be said about what's called a growth mindset. So the growth mindset is the difference between somebody who doesn't or does want to learn. The person who is able to accept that things are not always going to go their way, but it's still worth it to them to try. It's the folks that are able to be willing to ask in any hard situation, what can I learn from this? If you're simply trying to get through your day, then you're not going to be in a good headspace to say, what can I learn from this? And I hate to say it, but if you're not trying to learn something from a life event, you're probably not going to learn anything. It's just going to be something that happens to you. More important than what happens to you, though, is what happens within you as life happens. I truly believe that. And I have to tell you that for the last week or so, I've not been in a good headspace. I've taken a little bit of a break from Heroes and things in general because I wasn't in a good headspace. And I think I'm kind of trending towards the direction of working more for quality instead of quantity in these videos. If I'm not 100%, I would hate to put out a video. If it's not me at my very, very best, I would hate to put out that video. I'm happy to say that today I am doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I feel sharp. I feel shiny. I'm on it. I'm seeing opportunities and I'm clicking. Whereas otherwise, it's like I'm trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It's the definition of madness. I am just trying to get by. I'm just trying to survive. And that feels so bad. And so I'm grateful to be able to stand before you today and say that I took a little bit of a break from Heroes and from YouTube videos, and I'm ready to go. And I feel good. I feel good. Mental health is not something we talk about a lot, but I'll tell you that it's hard for me to have a growth mindset. It's hard for me to say to myself, what can I learn from something? It's hard for me to be sharp and shiny if I'm not feeling tip-top. I really hope that we don't lose half of the stack of creatures to these genies, but we're going to have to wait and find out. 7 rangers, that's not half the stack. We're going to accept that. And this is going to be for the stealth shield of protection, +2 defense. That's pretty darn good. Folks, we got 29 wood. We have picked up the Jousting Arena level 1. We are so far away from the cathedral. I don't think that that's incredibly viable, but I'm looking at upgrades. More so than the statue. I'm looking at upgrades. 3,000 gold here, 2,000 gold there. Tell you what, we've already kind of purchased the swordsmen and the pikemen. Let's upgrade the cavalries into champions. It's going to be a little bit less or a little bit more gold, 75 extra gold per troop, but you do get tons of extra hit points going from 30 up to 40. The damage stays the same, but you also go up to then a 7-speed creature, which is critically important. I really think that that is a big upgrade. I'm still working on the video for Heroes of Might and Magic when it comes down to my guide for the game. I have to tell you, I was very, very grateful for the response I got for my beginner's guide to Heroes of Might and Magic. Here in Heroes of Might and Magic 2, it was all about how do you take your turn, how do you manage the resources of hero movement and, you know, purchasing 1 building per day and getting more gold every single day from your castle. And then also, hey, guess what? At the beginning of the week, Monday is the best day of the week because that means you get more troops. You know, basic mechanics like that is kind of what that basic video is about. I am looking very, very much forward to the next video, which is going to be advanced tips and tricks for Heroes of Might and Magic 2. And then I also have the expert video already planned afterwards. And the expert video is mostly going to be where the cost benefit analysis goes for a lot of these Heroes games. Tell you what, when you try and break down the value of flying versus ranged creatures, when you try and break down the value of hit points, and then also take into account special abilities, it gets really, really difficult. How do you quantify a special ability? You know, if you're strictly looking at the stats and the cost of the building in order to train the troops and the amount of troops you get per week and per cost of gold, you get a very basic, rough understanding. And I'll tell you right now, here was the surprise. Knights are not nearly so cost efficient as I would have originally thought. That was my takeaway from the base level cost benefit analysis. And it's probably the best, it's the best instance of cost benefit analysis because, hey, other than the Crusaders and the Paladins, there's no special abilities that you really need to contend with other than the Rangers' 2 shots. That's it. That's it. Every other faction, try and compare the Knight faction to the Sorceresses, and it gets crazy because you have sprites that have no retaliation. You have dwarves that have a chance to reduce magic or resist it. You have, everybody has a special ability for the Sorceresses. And so really the cost benefit analysis is going to be in the expert video because if I start talking math, I can't stop. And it would have ruined the advanced tips and tricks. It's not going to be for everybody, but if you're very interested, that is how I've decided to do my ultimate long-term guide. It's going to have to be broken up into lots of smaller videos. Otherwise, I'm going to try and do it all in one go. It's just not going to work. Enough about me. Let's go back to the game. You pause to help a diplomat with a broken axle fix his problem. In gratitude, he gives you a writing quill with magical properties, which he says will help people see things your way. This is a nice artifact. Being able to surrender whenever you want to, it's kind of a big deal. 6 more ore. I don't think we necessarily need it now. No, I mean we could use it. We got reasons to use it. I think that now is the time to pick up the statue. Absolutely. Imagine if we didn't get lucky with all this ore. This feels like a wild amount of luck, and I am here for it. Folks, a group of zombies with a desire for greater glory wish to join you, except I do. These gentlemen are fodder. I am going to be very happy to have them take a punch in the face for me and just keep on going. That's their job. They don't have to do anything else but get punched in the face and prevent my rangers from taking any amount of damage. Dwarves here. This crystal mine's pretty critical because it could be paladins, it could be crusaders. I still have this sneaky suspicion as we are getting close to week 3 that we're still too slow. But this still feels way better than we were. It's gonna be Flotsam and Flotsam, and I think it's time for Sandro to avoid the coastline. I think it's time for him to go the long way and maybe go to this corner where there's potentially some more artifacts. I think that there's actually some up here too. With all this gold we have and with all this wood, I think I'm going to wait for 2 more days, and then I'm going to hope I get a sorceress, and I'm going to get that sorceress into the water. Have her go into the boat. Barbarian town of Woodhaven. That's not the direction we want to go. With sulfur mines times 3, that's not the direction that we want to go. But more crystal. How much crystal? 4. 4 total. Plus this, we will find out. Alrighty, folks. Sir Gallant. Always seems like a very happy fellow. Another barbarian town here, New Dawn. I would love it if these rangers joined us. I don't think it's very likely, and so we're going to actually avoid that fight, and we're going to go around. Maybe we're able to find some advantages. Again, we can surrender anytime. I think we're just going to head forward and see if we can do any damage to the enemies from afar. This is a good enough fighting force that we currently have that they can do something, and so we shall let them. Oh no. Who is this? This is a green sorceress against Sandro the Necromancer. These sprites are going to be annoying to say the least. That is very annoying. FHeroes2 AI, I love that you did this. I love that you put your single stack up here. 4 speed, so then your big stack of sprites can attack me unhindered. Natasha the sorceress with 5 knowledge. My goodness, she's a peach. She is a peach. This haste is not going to help. We're still going to be too slow. We're going to take full damage from these sprites. Yikes. Yikes. One sprite goes down and the boat. But it's a new week. It's a new week. New weeks are great. 5 crystal. 5 crystal is great. Although Ambrose does not have a big enough fighting force to go through any of these creatures. Maybe the peasants. A throng? Sure. With 4 archers, why not? Let's see it. Let's see. Lots of wolves. Bit of a tough fight, but we have zombies that can get punched in the face. 1 swordsman feels about right. We're going to take the basic scouting here as we pick up +1 defense. Whereas last time, any advantages that we had in hero felt useless because it was Wilfrey, who was just a spellcaster. Levels here for Sir Gallant do matter. 3 attack, 7 defense. If we can steal a dragon or 2, we're feeling great. I think that we're to the point where experience matters more than gold. It looks like we're going to have to go through these rangers if we're going to want to go in this general direction. I'm going to spring for a Thieves Guild. That's going to give me some additional information on that town, whether we want to fight that or not. We did not get a sorceress, but we are going to take Vesper. Vesper is going to be seafaring as best as he possibly can be. I forget, what artifact did Sandro pick up while he was out there? Because he did pick up an artifact, but I remember I wasn't too thrilled with it. Skullcap? I think it was the Skullcap. Again, not too thrilled, but bit of a loss there. 5 gems as we catch the leprechaun. And now it is going to be New Dawn. They've got ogres, they've got wolves, they've got goblins, they've got a lot. Highly concerning. Highly concerning. Do we really need to go back in this direction? It looks like there's some more crystal there. I'd still love to pick up this crystal mine. That could prove useful. And we do need a sawmill. We're running out of opportunities to pick up flotsam. Tell you what, we're going to go through the rangers. We're going to leave this barbarian town because I just don't think it's going to matter. And I really don't think that we can stop 9 rangers from going down. That is, as they do say, the price of doing business. As we drink the sweet water, we gain luck for our next battle. Good looking fountain there. Could you imagine that your horse gets into the fountain and for the rest of the week, he is obnoxious. Every single time you try and catch your horse and be like, come on, pony, let's go, let's hit the road. He evades you. And your lasso, he evades you. He bucks off the saddle because he's like, I don't want to go. And that week he's really lucky because he drank from the fountain's waters and now you can't catch your horse. So kind of funny how your good luck and his bad luck, or his good luck and your good luck, may cancel each other out. And it might not quite be what you hoped it would be. Very costly to upgrade the blacksmith and the armory and then the troops that are currently purchased. I don't know what else I'm going to spend my gold on though. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to be ready to bite the bullet in just a moment or two. This sorceress is pretending like she knows where we are at. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, it's 19 sprites. I can handle that. Even if she lands right outside my castle, that might just be a bait. That might be her landing and then getting accosted by a good hero in a matter of seconds. This archer's house feels pretty useful for us. We're going to accept 18 archers. That's going to hopefully help us take out this pack of mummies and through these archers and maybe into this territory very, very briefly. Let's actually have Ambrose go back in this direction rather than go around the long way. He's just going to have to wait for his friends to clear the road for him. And let's see what she does. You are kidding me. You made an absolute beeline for Vesper. That feels bad. That feels really bad. Snake ring, flotsam. What purpose? Hold on. If I go to the corner here, you cannot see me. For what reason could you possibly want to chase me to the corner? If Natasha chases me to the corner, I'm going to be looking at that with a very big side eye. I can't help it. That'll feel very, very strange. A glorious victory here. We are winning fights that in the previous playthrough we had no business even being in. I think that the diplomacy is a big pickup here. 20% movement total additional. An extra 10% on top of basic is good. I see swordsmen. I think we're going to have some opportunities to get some people to join us. We're going to take the diplomacy. It's a little bit not as good as it could have otherwise been as we pick up the +1 gems, because of course we do have the Statesman's Quill, and so you don't get the added benefit of being able to surrender for a reduced cost. But folks, let's have some archers join us. We have 12,000 gold. How about you join us? 10 for 5,700. 10 of the archers for 5,700 gold. I'm going to accept it because what better choices do I have? The halflings are odd. I'm going to allow them to run. And we're going to take this barbarian town of Woodhaven. There's another knight-based castle here. Here is the All-Seeing Eye Pendant. I like that artifact. Interesting. Interesting. There's some options out here. But I can't shake the feeling that somebody already has dragons. Okay. If Natasha goes to the corner, I'm going to know that this is rigged. What just happened? Okay, so hold on. I would love for an FHeroes2 team member to explain that to me, because Natasha was going in this direction. She saw Vesper, so she moved up one tile and continued on. And then she goes to here and then drops straight south. So I do believe that this is still outside of her line of vision. But is the AI specifically programmed now to look for corners? It's pretty interesting. And what this means to me at this point is that Vesper has to stay here one more turn. She has to go south even further. And then after she's a little bit out of her way, we can then leave. Right now, we are in this pocket where she can't see us here in the fog of war. We're gonna have to sit, we're gonna have to wait, and then we'll do something tomorrow. Like the T-Rex in the Jurassic Park films, don't move. Their tracking is based off of movement. Okay, a little bit of gold. This obelisk in the previous playthrough was not helpful. The obelisks were just not in a good spot for us. Maybe that's changed. Maybe I need to be a little bit more dutiful in looking to see where those are at. Folks, glorious victory here, 885 experience. And now we're going to take the second bit of logistics, and we're getting to be a sneaky good hero. 4, 8, 1, and 1. I'd love to see any amount of spell power. I would love to see any amount of knowledge. And then we said we were going to wait there, so we shall. Cathedral. We don't have enough wood to trade, but sulfur trade's pretty good. We need 7. We need 7 crystal by the end of this week. I think we're going to do that. We're going to end up doing something like that. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to trade for the crystal necessary in order to move forward. And folks, we've seen the enemy, and they're looking at us a little bit uglier than we would otherwise like. I believe that this is the lava in the very center of the map, which is kind of nifty. You know what? I've changed my mind. I've just changed my mind. I thought that maybe I had to fight enemies on the sides of the map. Maybe I need to just get a good, strong hero and go to the very center wherever there's treasure. Maybe I have missed an opportunity. Maybe I've been rigid in my thinking. Remember, I said that it's been a little bit of a rough couple of weeks. Maybe I was a little too rigid in my thinking, and maybe I should go to the very center of the map and find gold, dragon cities, whatever I can find, and then capture those artifacts and bonuses and use those to catapult myself to the front. The Knight faction just gives me a very quick start, and I'll show you kind of what I mean by that in just one second. We are probably going to pick up this crystal mine because we don't really have a crystal mine, do we? We don't. I thought I was going to be able to get to paladins because I assumed I was getting 1 crystal per day. I'm getting 3 sulfur if I trade for everything. We're going to give ourselves a second to see if we want to trade for everything. Oh no. You are so dead. You are totally worth experience to me. Peace out. Enemy has fled. I can't stop her. Sprites are a little too fast for me, but we do get our boat back. Good. Good. As Vesper continues to sail for the opposite corner. But yeah, I think that I should go for the center as quickly as I can. I think that'll be the very, very best thing for me. Let's get some opportunities, and we're going to go into these stone lists in a moment just so you can see what's there. Okay, let's trade. Let's trade for everything. Paladins are better than nothing. And I'll trade everything for it. Let's go like this. 1 and 2. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Jeez. This is not going as well as I would have hoped. I hope we don't have to trade gold for resources, but It might come to that. We have to keep the wood. We need 2 more crystal. Yeah, and we're trading at 10-1, so we have no other opportunities. I guess I got 1 more unit of ore I can trade. I don't know if trading for the ore is a good idea or not. Versus how much gold? 5,000 gold? Okay, we're going to do it like this. 1 and 1. And we feel so bad. But we're going to pick up the cathedral. By the end of week 3, here in the beginning of week 4, we're going to have some additional paladins. Not crusaders, but paladins. Cavalry's growth is up. That sucks because we have champions, not cavalries. It does matter whether or not you have the upgraded champions or the downgraded cavalries. That was week of the cavalry. We don't get a bonus there. I'm sad. So be it. Okay, moving on. Sometimes we've gotten really lucky and it's been week of the Titan or week of the Giant. And sometimes we've gotten lucky. Sometimes we get unlucky. That's not too bad. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Can we defeat several dragons? No, I don't think so. Several dragons. Well, but look, again, we're getting sneaky good. 4 and 8. We're getting sneaky good. Let me take this bit of dwarves and we're going to head north. Dwarves, gems, things like that. We're going to head north, pick up our sawmill. We're just going to figure this out and figure out the best way to get into the center because there's got to be resources in the center. There's got to be a way that we don't have to fight our enemies head on. Treasure chest. After scouring the area, you fall upon a hidden chest containing the ancient artifact Golden Bow. I do love that artifact. I do. And so before I do anything else, let me actually split my peasants into 5 stacks. Yeah, 5 stacks. Can't go this way, can't go this way. I think that there's a treasure chest here. And then maybe there's a little seam that we can rush through those trees through. Picking up some freebies. Would have loved to have gotten that that crystal before we had to trade so very, very much for it. We didn't read this last time. Let me do so now. You catch a leprechaun foolishly sleeping amidst a cluster of magic mushrooms. In exchange for his freedom, he guides you to a small pot filled with precious things. 5 gems feels a-okay. Alrighty. And just in case, I'm going to defeat these mummies just so somebody else can slip through unannounced and with everyone else being unawares. I wonder if we're going to feel more pressure via the sea or not. There's probably some resources here. We're going to have to wait and find out in a moment. There is the purple warlock here. And again, this is the pressure. And even if this is just Crota, which Crota doesn't seem to be too big of an issue, Crota represents the enemy being able to use vision against me. As we already saw, Natasha headed south because we were just outside of her vision range. Vesper was able to escape, and that worked out very, very well for us. If Crota scouts us out very effectively, that's a problem. And so we have to prevent him from scouting us out any more effectively than we are already at. Nestled among the trees sits a blind seer. After you explain the intent of your journey, the seer activates his crystal ball, allowing you to see the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents. Oh no! Oh, geez. Look at this! Look at this! How does blue have titans? How does blue have titans? Oh, the barbarians have their cyclopes. That's horrible. That's bad with the bone dragons, but this? That's pretty bad. The fact that purple does not have dragons, green, red, or black as their strongest unit is actually a big deal though. Because last time at this point they had dragons and they were impossible to deal with. Now though, less so of an issue. Worth noting again, we are the Red Knights. We are last in income, last in army strength. Yes, we are very, very far behind. And yet we're doing much better than we were doing before. I have to admit it. Got to get the observation tower at some point, but we're going to have to go through some troops to get there. We'll do that in a moment. Again, Crota. I have to prevent purple from wanting to come into my area. They don't have dragons. They don't have dragons, and I still have the sulfur mines. I was operating off of the assumption that they were going to have dragons by this point, and I was going to be completely overwhelmed. I got off to a much better start. I've got a much better hero. maybe I actually go and take the dragons. Maybe I go fight the warlocks. Maybe I'm missing out. Oh, I defeat these dragons. So what? Who knows what the prize is there? More dragons to fight? But if I'm able to head east and take a castle that is ready for dragons but does not yet have them, maybe that could be the solution. I'm going to operate off of that. And part of me doing this is going to look like this. I'm going to hire another hero who's going to help me do a resupply. Again, I would love to get at least those 9 swordsmen upgraded into master swordsmen. Folks, it's going to be Dimitri the Knight. He's back. He says back. I've never even been yours this playthrough. I say, yeah, but we go way back, buddy. Way back. Oh. Champions, paladins, rangers, don't upgrade anybody else. Don't upgrade anybody else. We could trade for the gems. Gems are not going to be critically important unless we wanted to upgrade Minotaurs into Minotaur Kings. This is a bad ratio. I haven't seen a trading post. I don't think it's likely that I'm going to get trading posts in my towns. Yeah, this is just a base level town. I don't feel too bad about trading all my other resources. I'm trying something here. Sulfur stays. Ore stays. The other precious resources, not so big of a deal. Thankfully, it just takes crystal to purchase paladins or purchase the cathedral. You don't actually need any amount of precious resources in order to purchase your 6th tier creature. It's the bone dragons and the paladins and crusaders that only cost gold after you've got their dwelling purchased. Everybody else takes a little bit of mercury, a little bit of crystal, a little bit of sulfur, you know. And from here, I think that I want all the champions. I do think I want the paladins. I think I want the rangers even more. I know I just purchased paladins. I know I'm out of gold now. I think that the rangers are actually more valuable than the paladins, because I've got archery. No, I'm kind of regretting that decision. Cost-benefit analysis. Rangers have more flexibility, but they're also more easily shut down by by flying creatures, of which the warlocks have 2. Griffins and gargoyles. Yeah, that was a mistake. Should have gone for the paladins. Usually it's like a no-brainer. I outthought myself. How about that? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wait one more turn. That's going to give us the opportunity, hopefully, to find some more gold. 1,000 extra gold. Perfect. And that means we're going to be able to purchase 4 more paladins. It's going to be something. It's not going to be quite what we were hoping for, but it's going to be better. We're going to have to be aware that Croto, as a warlock, does have scouting, so his scouting radius is going to be a little bit better than we otherwise would like. We're going to go probably to right about here. Dimitri's going to go through the mummies, hand off the troops, and then next turn we should be able to deal with Croto. I wonder if he's going to take 2 steps this way and then run. We're going to find out. Ha! Ha! It's too late, buddy. You see, and this is really one of the best things about FHeroes2. We've already seen one instance where we played with Vision here, and we're playing the Vision game here. The less he scouts over here, the better. Truly. And this is a fun game. This is a worthwhile game. And it's part of the strategy with the normal player. And I think that something is lost in Heroes of Might and Magic 2 Gold if it's not part of the game. I'm going to keep the undead in this army, but not the zombies. I think we got way too many other good options here. These 31 archers, I need to go get those upgraded. We will come back. We're going to do just like this. I think that this is my best bet at the moment. Even though this brings down my morale by 2. Is 31 archers and plus 2 morale better than 27 mummies? I don't think so. Especially because archers can get jumped on, and especially because these guys can be upgraded. So, Dimitri is still going to be a pretty good hero, with enough troops to maybe do something. Make a little bit of noise. What kind of noise? I don't know. Is it going to be a trumpet? Is it going to be a woodwind instrument? A brass? A piano, or like a keyed instrument? Whatever the case is, he's going to make some noise. This is why you can't trust me, as we see that Croto is going to cast a lightning bolt on us and hurt our feelings. This is why you can't trust me with common phrases, turns of phrase, because I will bastardize them to the point where you're like, Phixfox, you know that that's not what people meant when they said make some noise. But all the same, here I am. I don't just want, I need to prevent him from casting this lightning bolt. And the fact that he went for the mass curse, I don't think it's a bad play. I just hate it because I just have to get good morale. Otherwise, I'm going to eat a lightning bolt and there's nothing I can do. Let's do it like this. Hate you. Hate you so much. It's like a train wreck in slow motion and you know it's going to happen and you can't stop it, but it's just there and you can't look away. So we do lose 1,200 gold worth of paladins, but you know, it could have been worse. Really, the diplomacy and getting the advanced and getting up to the attack skill, this is not bad. We're playing this cautious. We're going to look at maybe getting some resupply going sooner rather than later. In fact, maybe we don't have enough gold to play around with extra hero chains, but we do have another hero coming up. Let's do it like this. The Mercury is not nearly so important. We do still have to hit the road. Oh, we have an opportunity here on day 6. Hector the Knight. I think that this is a winnable fight. The enemy has surrendered. Their cowardice cost them 300 gold. So this does not look to be, this is the castle fight. And for 11 rangers, we're going to see if we can do any better, but we don't have a lot of opportunities to make things go our way. We don't have any spells, and these castle walls are still going to take some time to break down. 2 rangers, lightning bolts, 25 points of damage there. Yeah, we are hoping we can get through these walls as soon as possible. There's no guarantees. No guarantees. The elves and the sprites. Sprites are going to go, and then the swordsmen should kill them. Let's make sure that we kill... Oh. Who do we kill first? Elves haven't gone yet, so let's kill them. Good morale is wonderful. Let's kill the enemies behind the wall, and then we should be able to save ourselves a little bit of trouble. And we get 950 gold instead. Very nice. What a good instance of good morale. And so why did this fight go so much better than the previous fight that the AI thought it would? I just made different decisions than the AI would have, and that re-rolled and restacked the cards as far as when and where and even if good morale or good luck would show up. And folks, that's a big deal. That's nice. This is nice. I told you. I told you. A little bit of RNG, and that feels kind of bad to have to rely on that, but this is the start that we needed. So, okay. That's scary. Somebody is coming to us with an absolute purpose. Who is this? Agar. Folks, this is the fight that we knew we would need to fight at some point. We knew that we would have to defeat a big warlock army. If we can get them to attack us here after we get a spell book, sure, dispel magic is huge, huge. And if we can defend behind this castle, that might be the opening we need. Throng, lots. Throng of the Centaurs, lots of the Minotaur Kings, lots of the Gargoyles, lots of the Griffins, lots of the Hydras. Wait, what? Lots of Hydras? Lots of Hydras. Lots of Hydras. Here's the thing. This is perfect. We can still surrender out of a castle, and we do surrender at only 10% of the total cost. We're going to do tons of damage to these folks. We're not going to fight to the very last man, but we're going to pick up the right turret. We are going to be a thorn in their side. We're going to see, do we need to make any changes while we still have this second marketplace? I don't think so. I think that the resources are fine as they are. Yeah, and I think that we're just going to hope that they crash against our walls, and we're going to dish out as much punishment as we possibly can, and we're going to take a lot of punishment. Rather than do this nifty little hero chain, we're going to go back. There's treasure and some opportunities there. Let's go pick all that up. And Vesper is still sailing, hugging the coastline, and he has finally met his treasure. Phixfox checks corners, and this is why. Day 7, might as well stay here. You can upgrade the archers. I don't care. It's going to be an upgrade we make in just a second anyway, so let's do that. And then we're gonna wait. Nothing else doing here. Let's see if we get fought here. Let's see if Agar goes for it. He does not. I wish he had. I really wish he had. I forgot about this. Month 2, week 1, day 1. A supply ship has arrived from the homeland. You send word home that all is well. This is bad? Is this bad? This could hurt me more than it could help me. And here's how I mean. Is this going to be enough to get the town of Dragontown? What? I mean, is this going to be enough to hurt me is kind of my question, to where the enemies then use this gold as an opportunity to move forward. I don't know. I don't know. Very interesting development, though, because I was really expecting a big fight there. Serenity Pendant, Berserker. Okay, okay. I do like the pendant there. If we can keep these two, I certainly will. Let's have Vesper still stick to the corners as much as possible. No attention. Let's not take any attention if at all possible. Gems don't really matter. Let's go here, and then let's set off with Dimitri. It's going to be, well, I mean, we can purchase pretty much everybody now. Let's upgrade the cathedral. Let's do it. Upgrade the cathedral, and this is going to be a fistful of crusaders. Yes, a fistful of these big, beautiful brutes. Bloodthirsty to their core, and we're out of gold. How are we out of gold? It's because that was 6,000 gold right there. Okay. We're going to set off, though. Maybe we have time to go out of our way to pick up this Mercury here, and maybe we don't. But I would love actually to get another hero to go up this road and explore for me. I wonder if the enemies explored up here, and if they have, what is up there? I don't know. But I would love this observation tower. What if I head south? What if I head along the road myself? You got a resupply coming. You don't want to go. You don't want to fight unless it's in this castle. You do not. Let's trade a little bit of resources. Sulfur seems to be in high supply. And then even just a couple of these troops. 2, split, 10, split into 3 stacks. And then if the enemy does attack, they're going to get a little bit of a welcoming committee. And he's back with no resupply, I'm sure. Are we in range to do our resupply? I don't know. Let's actually... Let's go back. And we're going to play this game where the enemy is going to be like, oh, I got to go away in shame. Aha, I'm back. And hopefully that's going to give us time to get troops up to the front with Dimitri. We're kind of playing with the game's mechanics here. And if we get too close with Dimitri, Agar might come straight for us. But because his Hydras are 2-speed creatures, I think that this is going to be fine. Yeah, I think this is going to be fine. So right there is going to be okay. Vesper is still singing Styx. The band Styx. Which song is that? Come sail away. Come sail away. Come sail away with me. Today I had a wonderful conversation with somebody about the band Meatloaf. If you don't know who Meatloaf is, Jim Steinman, I gotta Google it now, was a excellent composer who worked with, it was Jim Steinman, worked with the artist known as Meatloaf, and they did a ton of wonderful work. Some of the, of course, best songs that are well known by both of them are things like I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad. What is it? Love by the Dashboard. Bad Out of Hell. A whole ton of great songs. And occasionally I run into people who we jive with our music. And today that happened. And I had to pose the question. And I said, okay, tell me what you feel about Meatloaf. And they were like, oh, did we just become best friends? And the answer is, of course, yes. Yes, we did. I forget. This is what I get for taking a break. If I have troops in the garrison, does my army have to fight without of it? I don't remember. I don't recall. I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to dismiss these troops so that way I don't have to worry about it. I need to fight in this garrison if the enemy decides to turn and fight. I'm not going to let that happen. Vesper, run! Oh no. Oh, there's a lot of interesting developments here. Jezebel, Sabu, and Ambrose. Does Ambrose have anything? He's got the golden bow. I think that the golden bow is actually worth picking up. So with that being said, we're going to go south. We're going to explore. Aragon, we found him. We're going to explore as south as we can. We're going to lose Ambrose. We're going to rehire him for that golden bow. And we can reach Agar. We are going to get the resupply here. Folks, this is going to be a pretty big fight. And then we're going to turn, with it currently being day 3, we're going to turn back up the road in the other direction. And we're going to do some heavy damage. Clearly, 11 Master Swordsmen are better than just the regular swordsmen. I think that 6 Crusaders, are they better? Is the +2 morale worth the 6 Crusaders? But you lose the 27 mummies. That's so many hit points there. I think you're just gonna need hit points. Oh, just trade out the paladins. Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna keep the mummies. We're gonna keep the bulk of the most important troops, and I think that we have to hope that we win. I feel like I made a mistake. I think now that I'm looking at this, the very best thing to have done would have actually been to have just run up the road. Purple's here. Who cares if we got to fight purple? Like, I don't need to fight purple. I don't really want to fight purple. I think we go up the road as far as we can, and we'll fight them if they turn on us. Otherwise, I think I'm going to have a big enough army that they're not going to want to deal with me. I think that's the case. I think that's the case. We could strike a decisive blow now, but folks, what's the rush? There's no need to strike a decisive blow right now. We can simply go and take their castle and work off of a strong, long-term game advantage. And every week that we survive means more dragons. I think that that's the better route to go. We're not going to purchase any more troops. I'm going to be very, very sad to lose Dimitri. I didn't really want to lose these troops. I thought I was going to fight here and win. I thought I was just going to fight and win. I'm hoping that Agar is going to say to himself, Dimitri, Blood Rain, those are the 2 priorities. And then with the slow Hydras, I'm not going to have enough movement to also get to Sir Gallant. That's my hope. That's my goal. And even if I lose everybody else, that's not going to hurt my feelings nearly so bad. First off, Ambrose goes down. We're going to restart this simply so that we can run. Because again, that golden bow, maybe I want it, maybe I don't, but I want to give myself the opportunity to pick it up just in case. This is actually not a very tough hero. Okay, 8 attack is pretty tough actually, but the forces here are not that scary. I'm not super concerned about that. It's not my favorite thing to see, but I've seen worse. Agar can't even reach back, which means that Dimitri is now going to stay put. His job is going to be to die very bravely and lose very quickly. We're going to purchase Ambrose before the end of the week because we have to get back to this Warlock Castle by the end of this week, at least by day 1 of the upcoming week. Mage Guild level 1, is it worth purchasing a spell book? Sure. 500 gold, small investment, might as well. Not going to upgrade this town any more than it already is. Let's go up the road, be very, very fast, and find no dragons along the way. Aha! Night Shadow. Oh! There's 2 Warlock Castles here. There's one here, and then there's one over there. Well, folks, we're going to take 2 Warlock Castles then. Now would be a great time to actually have that golden bow. I don't know which is their main castle. Funny enough, this one or that other one. Do we have a Thieves Guild here? We do not. Let me pick that up just so I can make the best decision here. Yeah, definitely. I was worried that there'd be like a pack of Hydras. A few Hydras, fine. We're going to still take some losses, but I've seen worse. Did you notice, by the way, that Gwyneth just said hi and then kept right along her way? Blue, I believe, is the wizards, and so it feels kind of bad. Yeah, blue wizards. That the blue enemy says that I'm not even worth their time. I'm not even worth a second look. Hey, man. My mom says I'm cool. I don't need you to disrespect me like that. I don't need your approval, but I do like it. Okay, let's fight this fight. Yeah, this is definitely a loss, and I am so glad I did not fight this fight. And I'm so glad that the very slow Hydras were able to prevent the enemy from doing too much damage to me. Because they were so slow, they've lost an extreme tactical advantage on this battle. Very interesting. Very interesting. We're going to attack here, lose one of the paladins. We're going to survive for one more turn anyway. Let's just collapse on these gargoyles. We're not going to do much here. It's over. It's over. 7-1-1. We did something. And maybe most importantly, I realized about how tough these forces were, and we're going to have a glorious victory. Let's see if we can do better. I doubt we will. It would really take an instance of great morale for these rangers, because at least these centaurs and these hydras are probably going to stay back behind the other forces. We have a gap in the wall here. I think the enemies are going to... I'm out of the gate, actually, though. And so, because they do, I feel very vindicated. Note that the Crusaders did not get cursed. That's because they have the special ability where they are immune to curse. That feels wonderful. I think that these gargoyles are... It's actually worth it to me to dispel. Spend 5 of my 10 spell points, just so that way I can kill more gargoyles and maybe keep these rangers alive just a little bit better. They can poke these gargoyles. They're not going to take a retaliation. And are we going to lose a Crusader? It doesn't look like we are, unless something crazy happens. I don't know. Crusaders, I think, are probably going to pull back. We didn't take a ton of damage from the left turret, right turret. If I dispel... Okay, we're going to dispel the champions, so that way they do full damage to these hydras. They're going to do so much damage. 3 of the hydras goes down. Cursed again. It's not going to hurt my feelings too bad. Down go the centaurs, and then the rangers are going to get to finish off this fight. 9 of the rangers goes down. 2,000 experience is actually a nice pickup here. And thank goodness we had the opportunity to pick up pathfinding now that we find snow. Oh, but wait, what is this? Folks, from the top rope, here comes this guy, Sir Gallant, with the basic wisdom as a knight, +1 on the knowledge. Folks, we are at level 9, so that +1 knowledge was actually a very small likelihood at happening. The basic wisdom, this is about the time I would expect to see it, just because of the way that the little ping pong balls work when the AI is determining what secondary skills are offered to you. And yet still, this is kind of a big deal. Because if we have spells and we are the only ones with dragons, we're feeling okay. Feeling okay. I don't think that we really need the cure or the shield here. Is it worth it to go one step out of our way? I don't think so. Nice to see the dungeon. This is a nice pickup as far as the gold goes. 3k gold at the moment. Let's shoot up the road as fast as we can. As fast as our little legs will carry us. And here it is. This is it. If we can take Lombard, we can turn these castles into pay dirt. And that is my goal. I'm going to purchase Ambrose the Knight back. Oh no, I forgot to... I should have purchased him a moment ago, so that way he could reach Sir Gallant with the bow. We're going to go to the sawmill here. We're going to get ready to go to the crystal mine in just a moment. And then for this final fight, it's going to be full damage for our rangers. They're not going to take the reduced damage on the melee penalty. I'm going to take Gem. I know Luna has more troops, but I'm sorry. I personally find Gem's portrait a little bit more appealing. And so we're going to go with Gem's portrait. I like Gem. Plus, very relevant to the Heroes of Might and Magic franchise as a whole. So, you gotta respect the OGs. You gotta respect the Crag Hacks, the Yogs, the Gems, the Sandros. Yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic is littered with wonderful characters and wonderful stories. And so, I can't help it. There's times where I just feel inclined to go with the people that remind me of happy times. Okay. Agar's gonna be able to get here by day 1. But Sir Gallant, after he picks up his bow here, is going to win this fight. And maybe we're gonna have enough gold and enough ore and enough sulfur. Yes, yes, and yes. Ooh, not to the gold. To get the dragon tower, at least before day 1. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close, but I think we should be able to do this. And finding nothing in the flotsam is not helpful. But we tried. Okay. This is your moment. As big as it's gonna get. 5 wood. Yeah, it's gonna be 30 ore, which we have. 20 sulfur, plenty of. It's the 15,000 gold. That's gonna hurt us. I'm gonna spend the 750 gold here for the Thieves Guild. Just to see what the fight is. No, either way, we're gonna fight this fight. It's not gonna matter to me what these numbers are. We have to fight, we have to win. Glorious victory, 10 of the Rangers, 2 of the Crusaders, 2 of the Champions. Folks, let's dive into this fight. 18 of the Centaurs, 5 of the Minotaur Kings, 8 of the Gargoyles, 6 of the Griffins, and 4 of the Hydras. This is going to be Brock the Warlock. 0 attack, 0 defense, 4 spell power, 2 knowledge, great morale, good luck. And we are Sir Gallant the Knight with 5 attack, 8 defense, 1 spell power, 2 knowledge, good morale, normal luck. I'm feeling great about this fight. The AI does agree with me. How do we fight this fight even better? I think that the Minotaur Kings, if they're not to get good morale here, are going to move themselves once again through this gate, and they're going to find themselves on the receiving end of a bit of a thwack from my Crusaders. Unfortunately for me, they did get that good morale. That's okay. They did very little damage. 20 defense for these Crusaders. My word, we are taking massively reduced damage. I'm going to expect 2 flyers to come out. They do. 1 ranger goes down. And we don't have any spell points. We used them all in the previous fight. My bad. My bad. I admit. My bad. I don't think I can kill all these Hydras, so I'm not going to try. Let's kill 1 full stack of creatures, knowing that the Griffins are going to come out. 2 more Rangers are going to go down. That's a worthy sacrifice insofar as I am concerned. I would love to focus my fire on these Hydras as quickly as possible. It's going to take at least another turn in order for me to engage with them directly. The Rangers are going to do damage, but it's going to be reduced due to the curse. It's at least full. There goes 1 Hydra. There goes another. There's going to be a couple hit points left. We're going to take 1 more round of turret shots. That is going to be a lightning bolt, and that's going to be a little bit more. Down 2 Crusaders. I guess that was inevitable. That was simply a canon event. It could not be stopped. 9 of the Rangers, 2 of the Crusaders goes down. 1800 experience, but folks, we have taken this wonderful castle. +1 knowledge, and the difference between basic ballistics and advanced ballistics is an extra shot. It's kind of a big deal, especially for ground-based forces. I hope that I'm transitioning into Warlocks very soon. Expert diplomacy increases the amount of creatures that join you, and it gives you some other bonuses. Things like the way that Xanadu works, things like the way that wandering creatures will consider how reasonably they might join you for free versus for a cost. I think that there's no question here. We're going to take the expert diplomacy. You could totally fight me on that. I think that that's a place where you could have a very good argument to say, no, the ballistics is the best choice. I'm going to go in that direction. That's big. Wow. For a hero that just picked up basic wisdom, this is a big mage guild. Mass curse is on the table for me. For me, that's going to basically half the effectiveness of all Minotaurs, half the effectiveness of all Hydras. It's going to hurt the Griffins, hurt the Centaurs, hurt the Gargoyles. Folks, this was everything we needed. This is exactly what we needed. And again, we're looking at getting this green tower. I think that we trade, so long as we still have Night Shadow here, and it does have a marketplace with 3 marketplaces. Save the sulfur, save this ore, trade everything else for gold. For gold. And we're going to get there. We are going to get 2 dragons very, very quickly. Not going to be this turn, but next turn we should get just enough. Losing this dungeon and this statue is going to hurt, but we're going to get there. Okay, and we're going to stay in the Mage Guild overnight. And folks, this could not have gone any better. We have flipped our position. Where originally we were stuck in the upper left corner as simply the Knights, we are now moving into this opportunity where we can strike and we can overwhelm with dragons. And what better type of hero to do it than with a might-based hero? Again, I had previously taken Wilfrey. I thought that a magic-based hero might give me some early game momentum, and it might help me transition my early game strengths as a knight into a long-term victory. Not the case. Not the case. Right here, though, this is prime position. And maybe the biggest threat to me is actually the barbarians. Depending on how tough they are. If you can get dragons, though, with a might-based hero, you're already good to go. So let's just wait and find out. Wait and find out. 5 gold, a little bit of extra gold there. A little bit of extra stuff here and there. We still have 13 sulfur, and we're still picking up an additional 3 sulfur per day. Dragons are not going to be on the board until tomorrow. Let's wait. Let's see how close Agar gets to me. If he goes for Ambrose, fine, so be it. but we are going to strike in just one moment, and hopefully we're able to take that Warlock Castle back in short order. Ambrose does go down. He does not have the bow anymore, so not a big loss. Sprite growth is up by 5, and folks, we're going to leave 27 of the mummies behind. We're going to pick up as many dragons as we possibly can. Don't trade all your sulfur, but I do wonder if I want to trade a little bit. Red Tower. We're not too far away from the Red Tower, actually. Maybe I purchase one dragon here. Maybe I just hold. Do I also have the dungeon here? Yeah. Dungeon and statue. I think I just hold steady and I get up to at least red dragons. The difference between red and black dragons is not as big as the difference between green and red dragons. Plus, black dragons cost 1 extra sulfur more than the red dragons do. And so you might not always want to upgrade from red to black dragons, but I think that upgrading from green to red is always worthwhile. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile, especially cost-benefit analysis for, you know, red to black dragons, but at least in this case, let's just wait it out. We got defenses. The onus is on Agar to make something nifty happen, and I don't think he's got it. I think that if this was a game of cards, that he is looking at his hand saying, wow, I got a pretty good hand, and I'm saying, yeah, I know you think you have a good hand. I think I have a better hand is all. That's all. I'm not saying you don't have a good hand, but I am saying that I have a better hand. Night Shadow is going to get some reinforcements. I can't help that. That doesn't matter, though. They don't have dragons there. I do. Okay. This feels good. This feels much better. I really... That loss got to me a little bit. That loss got to me a little bit because it felt so overwhelming. I was thinking to myself, like, how can I come back from this? I wasn't feeling any kind of resiliency from myself. And now it's nice to be ready and hyped up and have things go your way, and don't kid yourself. I mean, we did have to, you know, we did have to restart. But yeah, this feels right. This feels like I'm in my lane. And that feels pretty good. Ruby has several bone dragons. I guess I don't know why she does, but I'm very concerned for that. I'm glad that we have the 4 Crusaders if we're going to be going up against massive amounts of undead. But we're going to wait, and we're just going to continue to hold on and just stay alive. Just stay alive. Oh no. That's about as much as Gem wishes that she could do. I don't think that Gem is going to stay alive for too much longer. Somehow Vesper, via boat, is doing the very, very best for himself. More so than anyone else. Okay, let's just go to Ore. And we are getting swamped. Natasha is back. Marini is here. And Ruby, yeah, Ruby is a little bit of a problem. Do I dare land just to pick up some freebies? Oh, a gold mine. That could be very useful. Very intriguing. Not while there's freebies in the water here, including Flotsam, including a sea chest and a shipwreck survivor. Once again, we wait. Phixfox, don't you want to be aggressive? No, I want to solidify my position. We went on a very hairy gambit that we only won because Agar had such slow troops. And that does not happen all the time. You can't always count on that. And so this feels like we should be grateful for what we have, and we should just wait. Just wait. Nothing else. Just wait. Okay, Gem suffers a bitter defeat. She abandons our cause. Not to be unexpected. Green backs off. Purple's forces do look pretty tough. Orange is making their way up north. But still, I have not felt pressure in my knight-based castle, and so that's slowly accruing troops. 4 Crusaders, yeah, sure, but 20 Rangers, Pikemen, Swordsmen. This may be a bastion of hope in the future. For now, I need to focus on dragons, but there may be a knight-based hero that heads south and does some serious battle with some orange heroes in the future. Keep an eye on that. That might happen sooner rather than later. 1,500 gold in the sea chest. Endless Cord of Wood. Not a bad artifact. It's funny to find more wood at sea. Maybe that's where all this flotsam is coming from. It's from this endless cord of wood, and somebody forgot to turn it off. Yeah, That sounds like the headcanon I'm going to go with. And there we see purple again in the upper left. We see yellow for the very first time, I think. Yeah, yellow for the very first time in the bottom right. And purple is just so strong. I'm guessing that because, well, we don't have to wait and guess. Hold on. Oh, View All is a 4th level spell, so I do need to see if I can find a wizard, because they start off with the advanced wisdom. As we go to the Black Tower, I'm not feeling nearly enough pressure to make me think that this is a bad idea. As soon as I can find a wizard, we're going to cast View All, and we're going to get a good understanding of what is around and what we need to be concerned with. Maybe even what our next opportunity will be moving forward. Rarely is it a good idea to just simply stay put and do nothing, but this is the very, very best thing at this time, especially when there's several bone dragons out there. We have gone from green to black dragons. That is a huge upgrade. We are still getting tons of resources. It's 3,000 gold per day. It's not a ton, but it's pretty good. And then one of each resource at least, minus gems, minus the mercury, but it's the 3 sulfur that's really doing great for us. Oh, a Magellan's Maps. We got to get that. Folks, a Magellan's Maps, one of the very best water-based objects in the game. I love it. A retired captain living on this refurbished fishing platform offers to sell you maps of the sea he made in his younger days for 1,000 gold. Do you wish to buy the maps? Nah, keep your maps. Keep your maps, please. Please let me see what's going on here. There's a bay here. There's still some artifacts there. There's still some stuff in the bottom right corner. You can hug the bottom of the map. Oh, there's nothing. There's no like crazy thing in the corner, like a land mass that just has free artifacts on it. That's nifty. It looks like this is still going to be mostly cracked earth terrain here in this general biome. This whirlpool, I don't know where that goes to, but that's kind of nifty. It's nice to know that we had mostly cleared out all of these objects at sea. Oh, it's over here. So the map is not as big via the ocean as you otherwise would have thought. That feels good. And then we get a little bit of information on the coasts and things such as this. Maybe most importantly, we're going to know if an enemy is about to happen upon us via the water. I feel great. I feel super good. What a great use of 1,000 gold. Before I forget, let's have our 7-speed champions be sitting right here, so that way they can get us all the way over here in Night Shadow on day 1. We're about to pick up dragons. We're about to be big. We're about to be scary. We're about to have 2 Warlock Castles. If the enemies landed right now next to my Night Castle, I would be feeling a lot of pressure. Do I spend the gold to save that Night Castle that we've spent a lot of time and energy upgrading? Or would I purchase dragons and then just fight from this one corner of the map? Thankfully, they are not putting me in that tough position. I don't think that they have actually scouted, Rebecca or Gwyneth. I don't think that they scouted close enough to actually see that. And call that lucky. Call it whatever you'd like. But let's get one thing straight. I'm okay with it. Whatever the case is, I'm okay with it. Mummies, we're going to leave them behind. They're going to be pretty okay defenders. And because we have the champions with their 7 move speed, we're going to take Carlon out for a walk. Yeah, glorious victory. And now we're getting to the point where experience is incredibly valuable because those stats are going to be multiplied. Well, not multiplied, but added to the value of our black dragons. Maybe I can save a couple of these rangers. Probably not, but we're going to give it a shot. Worth noting, the Warlock Castle in the right side. Very interesting that they went for a 4th level mage guild instead of going for dragons. I think that the FHeroes2 AI or FHeroes2 team has indicated that that's something that they don't particularly love. I think that Zentz said specifically that he's like, yeah, I don't really love that they tend to get stuck on Hydras. Maybe Lost Continent in the previous playthroughs was way more difficult because the AI did not get stuck on Hydras and they just found a plethora of loose resources, and so they were able to get to 30 ore and 30 sulfur, and so they got to dragons, you know. And maybe this time they didn't get that RNG luck, and so the Mage Guild just felt like the best next alternative. whatever the case is, very different in the way that these playthroughs can go. And that's interesting to say the least. With 30 spell points, I think that we're mostly going to take damage from Carlon the Sorceress from her spells. A 2 spell power, 3 knowledge, 0 attack, 0 defense. Is it worth it to cast? Is it worth it to cast the Mass Curse? Sure, why not? We're going to end up staying in this castle. We will replenish our spell points in just a moment. We're going to go to here. We're going to skip Minotaur Kings. I hope are going to come out in just a moment or two. Then again, the Black Dragons are going to go in and do some damage. We're going to kill up here because I don't want the Hydras to attack. Do not attack me. That feels bad. Oh yeah. And now we have a 300 hit point dragon that just shrugs off damage as if you are merely a fly. My word, that feels so good. After all the struggle, this is somewhat euphoric. This is somewhat cathartic, mind you, to feel like you're on top, where many a time we have felt very, very far behind. This is okay. This I can handle. This is what I hope for in my gaming experience after a long, tough day at work. Yes, indeed. Okay, so the Hydras I'm still a little bit concerned about. Do I want to attack them here? Kill 1 to 3. I'd love to let the Rangers do some damage from afar. The turret shots are really not hurting me. The dragons are not going to take too much damage in retaliation. It's going to be 17 damage in retaliation. Oh yeah, not too bad at all. In fact, I was probably way too cautious with these champions. We are tough. We are very tough. So, with that being said, skip, kill, skip, kill. And 10 Rangers it is for, again, the 2700 experience. We're going to take the logistics. I don't think that the navigation, now knowing what we know with Magellan's maps, I don't think the navigation is worth taking on this map for anybody other than a sorceress who might already have that. We're going to wait here, and we're going to start getting tons of Warlock troops. I may hire another hero in just a moment to go pick up ore mines and such. I wonder if we can actually reach all the way over here with a 7-speed creature. Let's take a look and let's just give it a shot. We do have a mage guild in here, yes. So we will have full spell points, and Vesper is going to pick up some additional opportunities. Bottom right corner. Pretty soon we're going to try and get the Berserker pendant over to him, the Pendant of Dispassion. I think that'll be useful. And then the enemy has picked up a Magellan's maps. Which enemy was that? I do need to take a quick peek there. As we do see purple. Purple, it looks like probably Agar is looking to challenge us, as we do have Week of the Goblin. Goblin growth is +5 here on month 2, week 3, day 1. Yeah, Agar wants to challenge us, and I don't hate that decision from him. It looks like we're definitely not going to reach Ranlu at this point. We got dragons here. We do have more dragons to come. That's 20-something Hydras. I still don't really love that fight. I really don't love that fight. So we have enough movement to get all the way back. I think we're just going to turn over Night Shadow again. Be happy that we lost 9 of the Rangers and that we're going to have an opportunity to come back with maybe 5 Black Dragons in a future fight. Bend but don't break. Bend but don't break. We're still getting good opportunities on other sides of the map, and we know that the enemy blue does have Titans. Do they have 2 castles producing Titans or 1? That is a question that I don't know the answer to. That is highly concerning. Purple's turned around. Purple has decided that they have other more pressing matters. Strange. And this is going to be 2 more Black Dragons here. Is 5 enough for me to feel comfortable? I don't think I need to feel comfortable. Not when I am able to simply come over and take Night Shadow in just a second. We're going to get even more gold. Lightning Helm halves all damage to the hero's troops when we are struck by lightning damaging spells. That's going to be Chain Lightning. That's going to be the single-use Lightning Bolt spell. Either way, I'm happy for it. It's yellow, by the way. Yellow is the hero that for sure has the Magellan's maps. We're going to be cautious around them. And Vesper is going to make his way back slowly. Maybe he's going to pick up some Flotsam here and there. Phixfox, this is boring. Why don't you go fight them with your dragons? Because 20-something Hydras is still a lot of Hydras. And it doesn't feel very good. We can reach Agar right now. I think that he has turned back into his doom. 2 more black dragons. Let's call it a grand total of 7. And these 7-speed champions are actually incredibly useful here because this is giving us such a reach over Agar. We are able to strike with impunity, and he has to flounder like a whale that has lost one of its flukes. And folks, the enemy has fled. 4,000 experience. We're not going to lose a single dragon. He's going to lose upwards of 19 Hydras at least. Let's make this fight happen. Priorities. I think that the 125 of the Centaurs is a good force. I think I'm more worried about the 23 Minotaur Kings. And then we're going to leave the Hydras ideally for last. Let's not send the champions down to take a full salvo of damage. Let's save the Mass Curse. I wonder what spell Agar is going to cast first. 0 attack, 2 defense, 9 spell power, 2 knowledge. Oh, but friend, when I have 7 black dragons, that is going to availeth you nothing. 5 attack, 8 defense, 1 power, 4 knowledge. Not too bad. We are going to send the champions to the very center of the battlefield here to respond either up or down. Ouch. Okay. You can totally lightning bolt my Crusaders and my champions and everybody else for 225 points of damage, but not the black dragons. And that's going to be what ultimately kills you. I'm going to get full damage off here. Because he's cast his spell, I'm now going to cast the curse. That's going to be pretty significant. I think I can kill most of, if not all, these centaurs. So let's get the double damage off. Oh yeah. That feels pretty okay to me. The Crusader might as well just sit and stay. That's fine, because the Griffins are going to be just slow enough that the Rangers are going to get full damage off, and they're going to want to deal with the Hydras from afar. Anytime you don't have to take a retaliation from Hydras, you're having a really good day. 28 spell points left. I think that another Mass Curse is just fine. Maybe that'll save me the damage from a lightning bolt. Let's kill so many Griffins. 3 to 6, or 3 to 12 anyway. 9. There goes the 1 Crusader from the 6 spell point Cold Ray. Griffins go down. There's nobody to deal with these Rangers. And so we know that there's going to be a little bit more damage coming out because there's going to be either 1 lightning bolt or 1 cold ray. You might as well cast the lightning bolt. That's just my humble opinion. And I don't think that we're going to take any damage, any significant damage from these Hydras. We're down to 7. Yeah, 11 Hydras are doing 23 damage. We're doing fine. I think that they're going to run here. I'm going to skip. Maybe they lightning bolt and then they don't run. So that worked out just fine for me. I am going to try and pile on the damage. I want to kill all of these Hydras here. Let's actually see how much damage they do to these champions. They do kill 1 champion, 56 damage to the champion. Not too bad, but with 8 Hydras to go, down to 1, with the good morale, can't go wrong. This is a victory. The enemy does not run. 4,700 experience, and it cost me Rangers and Crusaders. Sure, sorry for that. But we also get the Wizard's Hat, so spells have been increased by 10 turns. For a hero that's got 4 knowledge and 1 spell power, the Wizard's Hat is actually a huge pickup. Might-based heroes, barbarians, and knights love the Wizard's Hat because you don't need spell power. Your blinds are going to last for 11 turns. Your slows, your mass curses, it's going to work out pretty good. So great artifact there. Even though that's the only artifact we picked up, I'm thrilled for it. And the expert leadership to cap all that off. Folks, could not have gone any better. Let's step on the magic well. A drink has restored our spell points to maximum. And I'm actually going to do something here. I think that we have just close. Not quite enough gold. Just going to send Vesper up. I'm going to trade for just enough gold in order to get another hero. Like so. And they're going to hold on to all my forces minus the 7-speed champions. The champions speed is so ludicrous, so incredible, so wonderful that we're going to just have Tyro act as a little bit of a caddy for me. And I mean, Tyro's not going to get destroyed because he's got 7 black dragons. Gallant could get destroyed, but 18 champions is still pretty good. So he's not going to get completely demolished before he's able to retreat. This is a pretty good strategy. With the Statesman's Quill, 10% just in case somebody sneaks up on me, and 7-speed creatures. Unless a Phoenix attacks me, we're going to be okay. All right, folks, it's time to roll. It's time to absolutely roll through the enemy, and there's no stopping it. 6 of the Rangers goes down. We're not going to need to fight this fight. We're going to take the Advanced Wisdom. Really nice pickup. Is it worth it to go back here to Lombard? Not just yet. I think I'm going to wait for a moment. Aragon, here he is. I'm going to, again, everybody's back except for the 17 champions. Tyro is going to sit and wait. No sense in carrying on at the moment. I do have to consider getting up to 30 sulfur and 30 ore to pick up another black or another dragon tower. It'll be a green dragon tower and then more from there. We do see this necromancy castle here. We know that there are bone dragons. I think I do want to head south more than heading back in this direction. The best reason to head west is to liberate Brindamore and make sure that we have support moving forward from the Knight faction. We don't want to lose that if we don't have to. We don't want to lose that. But we also want to go eliminate a very, very big threat for us. And those necromancers, kind of a big threat. They're kind of a big deal. Worth noting, we have not lost a single enemy. Everybody is still with us. We still have wizards, sorceresses, necromancers, barbarians, and warlocks. We have not lost an enemy player, which I'm okay with. Troyan is simply annoying here. I think we've got enough forces available here. Yeah, I'm going to purchase these troops, and Tyro is going to expel these invaders from our lands. If for some reason he is unable to do so, I'm going to be pretty shocked, but it's just sprites and dwarves. The enemy has fled, 16 experience, no problem. And your job is to go back and defend. Your job is not to be a hero, my friend. That's somebody else's job. Aragon is, I believe, Orange's toughest hero. They're going to surrender. Let's see if we can keep them from surrendering. I know that we should have split up our dragons, huh? 3 stacks of dragons would have been pretty good for this. We do have the 1 lightning bolt, 25 points of damage. That's going to kill no single stack creatures. So we might as well cast that now. That's going to be 1 orc chief that can go down next turn. Let's move the champions into this kind of ready to attack slot. Let's see if the enemy is going to get overwhelmed by us. I'm just going to skip. Yeah, they're going to feel the pressure. They're going to feel the heat. They're not going to want to play that one loose and fast at all. They're just going to want to be safe and prevent a major devastating loss where they lose tons of artifacts. I think that that's a wise decision. Again, does Phixfox personify the AI? Yes. Do I personify it a little too much? I don't think so. I think it's fun to give the AI a voice and give it some reason, where otherwise we might forget, hey, there's a lot of quality programming that goes into these AIs. And I'm grateful for the folks that do a great job and really a labor of love. FHeroes2 team, you guys have all got my attention and you've got my respect. So, okay. Very, very worth noting too, by the way. Also, I'm grateful as I do see some pressure from purple here to the south. I did get in touch with some of the folks from the Heroes of Might and Magic 4 modding community. And these are individuals that have made balance changes. These are folks that have added spells. These are folks that have done an awful lot with Heroes of Might and Magic 4. I've mentioned several times in the most recent video I did for Heroes of Might and Magic 4, I mentioned, well, if Heroes 4 had gotten the treatment, aka multiple attempts at balance and change, as Heroes of Might and Magic 3 did, then you might have had a much, I don't want to say better game, but you might have had a much more polished game. And I think that people forget that the reason why we don't purchase the Steam version of Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is because it's running off a Shadow of Death. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're missing out on tons of balance changes. You're missing out on things that are really important to the game. Don't buy the Steam version. Cannot say it enough. And so if another game like Heroes 4, which, you know, had a very difficult issue with its development cycle and things like that, if it had gotten just a couple of more patches or well quality made sort of expansions, I think you very well could have seen Heroes 4 do much better. And so I'm very happy that there's another modding community out there, much like FHeroes2 is not a mod, it's a rebuild from the ground up, but more people that give the games quality, love, and attention. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. So the mod specifically, let me pull that up just so that way I can lead you somewhere interesting if you feel so inclined. I'm always a big fan of making sure that people that put a lot of care and attention into these things get some correct information out there. The mod name is H4 Ultimate Mod. It upgrades graphics to full HD. It's got a unique look, better graphics, remastered campaigns, new creatures, spells, magic items, and more. So if you like Heroes of Might and Magic 4, I have not yet checked this out, so I can't necessarily vouch for it 100%, but I am hoping that if you are interested in it, that you will take the time and you will look, and you will see what makes the most sense to you. Aha, Natasha, I hate your guts, but I am just as fast as you are. I'm going to curse you with the shaking of my fist, and I'm going to run because I want to keep these artifacts because they're not too bad. So, peace out. But yeah, go check out that modification. Just for those people that have asked me and are interested, I do still plan on doing as many of the mods as possible for the different games that come up. For example, it's not going to be until at least February, when things calm down for me a little bit, that I can take a little bit of a look at some of these mods. But we're looking at things like VCMI, Wake of the Gods. We're looking at modifications that I don't have a lot of experience with. And so if you're interested in seeing Phixfox's initial thoughts about a particular game, just wait until February. That's going to be when I get the opportunity to really dive into some more of these Heroes of Might and Magic projects like that. Speaking of which, just so I'm apprised of this information, when does Olden Era come out for Heroes of Might and Magic? Initial release date's 2025. I felt like I remembered it being in the first quarter, but a quick Google search doesn't really come up with anything there. So whenever Olden Era comes up, I'm sure that's also going to take a certain amount of time and attention, which isn't too bad. 8,000 gold. I don't think I see an enemy really threatening any of my towns. Not my castles, anyway. Okay, if I don't see any threats, then I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. Pretty soon, we're going to be looking at getting another hero in the upper right corner. Probably it's going to be my friend and yours, the Warlock Vesper, with his 4 artifacts. And I think that this is going to be enough dragons. 3, call it 2 at the moment. This should actually be enough to set out and mix it up a little bit. Yeah, Jaclyn, for example, he can handle some of these smaller things. So we're going to let him do that. Marini is wandering, picking up things I could have and maybe should have picked up a long time ago. Tyro is splitting our attention just a little bit. This obelisk, we visited this obelisk, but I noticed something that surprised me. This was not the very center of the map as I had supposed. Look at that. That is coastal terrain. If we can find a little bit of a tree line like that, and maybe like this white sort of L-shaped, maybe reverse L-shaped section here, maybe something like this, then we might be able to track down where this ultimate artifact is. I'm guessing it's right about here. This one, or this one, maybe this one. Yeah, there's only so many places it can be, because it looks like it's the darker green trees like this, as opposed to these lighter ones. So I'm guessing it's in this area right about here. That's probably where the ultimate artifact is. We will look for it. We will find it. Should we take on a pack of Titans? Not for that artifact. That's maybe the worst artifact we could go for. So let's ignore that. Glorious Victory, 2,000 experience. Very, very free. They've not upgraded anything in that castle. We are going to pick up the Sulfur Mine. Again, Jaclyn's going to be handled by somebody. Somebody's coming for her, aka Vesper. But let's not turn over any free troops here. Bit expensive to do so, but it seems like a good practice at this point. Okay. Forces do suffer bitter defeat. I don't think I can stop that. Oh, but just you wait. Vesper's coming. He'll handle it. I have faith in Vesper. Even against a barbarian such as Jaclyn, we are going to give him an extra 1,000 experience. 1+ spell power. Sure, why not? And let's just see if we can do something nifty there. And as usual, this map feels like one of those times where a quick start is pretty significant. One dragon did go down here. Huh. I'd prefer not to lose any dragons, but I don't know how possible that is. Vesper is going to have a couple extra lightning bolts here. It's going to be 2 extra lightning bolts plus a cold ray. Let's start doing damage to ranged creatures here. I think the attack, which is better? Let's see. Druids are going to have 16 attack skill versus 14. So actually the attack skill on the Rangers, I think you want to kill the Rangers. Jaclyn's got such high attack skill with 9 that killing the Rangers with a lightning bolt does quite a bit. I'm going to send the gargoyles to just sit right in front of these druids. And then I'm going to send the dragons to deal with the biggest, toughest stack of creatures that they have. I do believe that that's the 10 Master Swordsmen. Gargoyles didn't really stay alive, but they did their very best. I hate that decision. That's a bad decision. I understand why the AI just did what it did, but it's a very bad decision, especially when I have dragons that are going to roast you through your troops. I strongly advise the AI to rethink their life decisions. We're going to do damage where we can. Tons of creatures perish. Sure, blind me. I know that there's not much else you can do, but already I think that the initial lightning bolt was critical, and then the follow-up lightning bolt and the follow-up cold ray really just knocked the socks off of our enemies here. I mean, you know, that's a move. That is a move you could do. You could make that move. This is like when you see ChatGPT play chess and it says rook to h7 and it's still in its corner and you're like, buddy, did you want the rook to teleport through time and space? You know, I mean, that's not a move you can make. The AI just made a move that it could make, but it wasn't much better than watching ChatGPT play chess. I don't know. That was a weird one. Yeah, you go defend those 2 archers. Go for it. And especially weird that the Gambler's Lucky Coin came through and the Medal of Courage. I gotta tell you, I do wonder sometimes if my computer gets a little hot and if the AI just plays worse because it doesn't have the CPU power to keep up. Maybe that's Phixfox's secret. Maybe this is like the people who play Super Smash Brothers with a controller that's technically legal, but also defective. 2,900 experience for this one champion feels great. We're gonna take that. Apparently in the Super Smash Brothers community, which is played on the Nintendo GameCube, as far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a group of people who will enter a tournament and then back out of a tournament if amongst the provided equipment necessary for gamers to compete, the tournament does not offer a broken or like a certain type of controller that can be broken to perform certain special moves. Kind of weird if the only way that you can be effective as a player of a certain game is if you have malfunctioning equipment, and yet maybe Phixfox is doing the exact same thing. I don't think I am, but maybe my computer gets a little hot and it plays much worse because of that. Interesting that we're going to lose a dragon here. Let's take a look at this fight. But I have noticed, for example, Warcraft 2, before I got my most recent download of From Good Old Games, not the new version that Blizzard just released, but this would have been several years ago. I did notice that the AI would struggle later on in the game as opposed to early on. Granted, that was a previous laptop. Yeah, that laptop had some problems. No, shouldn't be this computer. This is a really good computer. People have asked on the Phixfox Discord about my setup. They say, hey, I'd love to see what you're working with here. I am happy to show you as soon as I possibly can. If you ever wonder what my library setup is for when I do Twitch, I'm happy to show you pictures of that. I'm also happy to show you my pictures of my setup here. It's pretty fun. One of my favorite modifications I've made to this setup is I've got a microphone that I used from my days of doing music, and it's one of my favorite things, one of my favorite pieces of equipment. The microphone quality is very good, and I'm very appreciative of that. The only time that it kind of works against me is if I'm dehydrated, and then I hear sounds coming from my mouth that I don't enjoy. It's one of my least favorite things. And now I'm immediately hyper aware of that, and I am hoping that I am enunciating clearly, and so there are no such sounds. But I digress. So that piece of equipment I truly do love. And then in order to have a mic stand so I can play hands-free, I drilled into the desk that I use here. Yeah, I took a drill and I drilled through the wood so that way I could take an old cell phone stand, modify it, slam it through the thing with a 3/8 bolt and a nut and screw it on. It's a little ghetto. It's not quite what I would be proud to show just anybody. But I think that we as a gaming community can appreciate that you got to do what you got to do. And if it sounds stupid but it works, then it's not stupid. How many times have we said that on this channel before? If it looks stupid but it works, it's not stupid. I hope that you will agree with me that this is one of those times where it maybe shines. That particular saying does in fact shine. Okay. We have got a problem. Have you noticed that there's a purple knight sitting right here? Have you noticed that we have only one black dragon and a couple of mummies? We do have the 12 Hydras. We're going to pick them up immediately. I think that a hero here with our remaining gold is going to be useful. Rialdo's pretty bad. With his one attack skill, Rialdo might be a little bit better. The haste, it's not going to be useful for the dragons, but it will be useful for the Hydras. Do I have a haste in here? I don't. I think that Rialdo, I think that generally I would say, oh, Luna is just the better hero here. But I think that knowing that there's going to be 12 Hydras and Rialdo does have a haste, I think that Rialdo's the hero. I think that that small little detail actually matters. The fact that we're going to keep these mummies anyway doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. I'm probably going to get rid of the zombies and pick up maybe these 6-speed gargoyles. Couple anyway. Yeah, this is going to work out just fine. We're going to do just like this. Okay. And then just purchase the rest in gargoyles and call it good. I don't think that we actually have to defeat Hector. I think we just have to stay put. If he runs away from me, good or bad, I want to see if he tries to fight me on my turf, because if he does, I definitely win. So let's just see what happens there. But pretty soon we're going to get more black dragons anyway. Vesper can always come back to support just in case there's a major problem. I totally missed that Orange took that Sorceress Castle from me. Vesper, are you drunk? Oh, he just never took it back. Whoops, my bad. Okay, well, it's going to be a free hero for us. And with dragons, the ballistics becomes a little bit less useful. Hector, Tyro. Let's see if we can save these troops. Yeah, let's just save these troops and do it just like so. Ooh, Jaclyn the Barbarian, level 10. 9 attack skill, 4 defense, 2 spell power, 1 knowledge. We've defeated her. She is a wonderful hero. She is going to lead our forces to victory in this whole Western Hemisphere sort of a deal. In the Eastern Hemisphere, currently the power is still Sir Gallant, but Jaclyn is ready to fight. Oh boy, she is ready to fight. Can Rialdo reach? He can go this far. I think we're going to be able to make this. Yes, I think we're going to be able to make this happen. Let's just go to here. Oh, this is going to be close. How many movement points? 438? There's a little bit. Let's trade out here and here. And she can reach. It's by the skin of her teeth. But thankfully, this hero makes this fight so good. A glorious victory. 3 of these bone dragons goes down. We're going to accept this. And folks, she's got the expert pathfinding here on the snow. The leadership is quality. It's great. It's wonderful. I think that speed right now is going to be super nice. Let's go on the snow. Wait a second. Pause. Does advanced pathfinding actually eliminate the penalty from snow already? Was that a redundant move? I don't know. I don't know. I know that at one point I knew, and now I know that I know enough to know that there's a question, which maybe is the first start to something beautiful there. Tough to say. Okay, let's circle back here. Marini just has nothing. I am going to purchase one more hero. We are going to be up to 7 heroes total. It's going to be Luna, because I don't really care about Luna. And we're going to get rid of these really slow creatures. These dwarves are going to stay put and be very stout defenders. There's no other defenders here until at least day 1, currently being day 6, but this is going to get us up the road into the barbarian territory. Marini shall really want that observation tower. Let's go see if we can find that observation tower. Let's see what this hero of Vitania does to us, against us. Not for us. I don't think that there's anything she can do for us. Okay, off she goes. And we're getting some more pressure over here. Is Jaclyn up to the task of beating Troyan? Several. I think that with it being day 7, this is a chance to back off, play just a little bit safe, and we should be able to come out swinging in a moment. Extra sulfur. And Rialdo. Rialdo is going to actually see if he can lure the enemy in. If Troyan goes straight north, we should catch them with no problems. That's going to feel pretty good. Glorious victory there. Blood Rain is ours. We're going to recapture New Dawn. And we are securing this general area. We are getting closer to all this. Marini, again, is going for that observation tower. That feels like a good observation tower. If she's able to get there, she has no forces. Let's see what happens there. And we are expanding our sphere of influence. Slowly but surely, we are gaining in strength and power and wisdom. And hopefully our enemies fear us more and more each passing day. This scenario is not necessarily over, by the way. I know that when I get rolling, I tend to be very verbose and like, yeah, we got this. Oh no, it's Month of the Plague. That's bad. Okay. Especially bad as we have another supply ship. That's great. I guess that's good because now we can focus on this green tower without any issues. Just don't make any questions. Buy a dragon. There it stays. But that's really bad because up here, there was a lot of quality troops that we just don't get anymore. And that feels really bad. I was kind of saving those for a rainy day. My bad. My bad. If I was playing on Twitch, my chat would have let me know, hey, Phixfox, this is a possibility. You should probably think about slowing down and purchasing these troops before you don't get a chance to purchase them. And this would be the time where I would be saying, folks, you were right. You were right and I was wrong. And that's really the best thing for me being on Twitch. I love getting the chance to stream on Twitch because there's so many great players that I get to interact with. And a couple of players that say, oh, I'm not really much of a player. And their perspective still, they'll come up with stuff that I didn't see. People will say, oh, Phixfox, you know, I'm not very good at the game, and you know, I'm looking for improvement and opportunities, and then they pop off with something just really impressive. And I hope that the folks that spend the time with me on Twitch understand that I'm really grateful for not just the continued association, but also being able to be a better player in general. I learn a lot, and that feels great. That feels really great. Oh man, I ran the wrong direction. It's just Vitania. Somebody will catch her, right? Vesper. Vesper is going to come back in this direction. Okay. All right. We got a plan. And Jaclyn could attack Troyan with only one black dragon against several bone dragons. There's no way. I'm worried that Troyan's actually going to go towards Night Shadow. That would be maybe the very worst thing. If that happens, we're going to combine the green and the black dragons. Nope, she runs south. And that suits me just fine. I think it's time to ignore sawmills and the likes. I think it's time to create pressure wherever we can. Very sad that we can't go north there. I'm wondering what that observation tower would tell us, or this one, for example. But yeah, our main hero just doesn't need to go out of his way for the sawmills. Every single time, not every single time, but often when I talk with my dad about Heroes of Might and Magic, because he's an excellent Heroes of Might and Magic player, his very favorite map, by the way, is the map Free For All in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So if you're interested, go check that one out. It's one of his all-time favorite maps for Heroes 3. But he always says to me, Phixfox, and he doesn't actually say Phixfox because he knows my name. Phixfox, why don't you just go grab this alchemist lab or the sawmill? It's less than 1 day out of the way, and it's going to generate you 1 resource for the rest of your life until an enemy captures it. And I gotta say that he's completely and totally right. And still I persist. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth... I don't know if the speed I get, if being quicker and being faster on the map, I don't know if it really matters that much. In my mind, it feels like a good fast start and prioritizing different things when I don't really need resources. It feels correct to me. I don't actually know if it is. And so I'd be very interested for you folks to let me know, is my primary hero, Sir Gallant, is he to the point here in this point in the game, month 3, week 2, am I wrong for not having him pick up this alchemist lab and this sawmill? He just kind of walked right by him. I'm going to pick up this one, this ore mine, because it's really right along the way, but is it really... Am I hurting myself more? Should I have picked these up? You let me know. You tell me. I'm always interested to know what you folks think. Purple did go south. We're going to pick up this obelisk. Ah, this actually tells us a lot. That's a big puzzle piece. That does tell us a lot. I think that from there we should actually be able to tell. I think we should be able to tell what we're looking for here, just based off the coastline. Little thing, and then it's got to jut out further than this white shape goes there. So this is incorrect. It could be here and here. It could be right there. Yeah, and that's kind of where we thought it would be anyway. Yep. Oh, yep. Unless there's something over here I'm maybe missing. This all looks to be swampy terrain just on the very edge, right next to the beach. I'm still going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say that the ultimate artifact is right about here. Another good reason for us to have a second hero, really putting pressure on our enemies in the east, while Sir Gallant makes magic happen in the west. Obelisk, that's a very obvious clue, if only you can get there. Are we about to get an observation tower in the very center of the map? Oh boy, I hope. As we pick up another obelisk. Tell you what, that could be a real defining feature of this game. Finally cracking the code of these obelisks and picking up a nice ultimate artifact. That does tend to put a smile on my face. This hero that we're attacking is not too much of anybody. In fact, let's see, if we had some really nice spells, this ain't gonna do it, but we had some really nice spells, we actually might have been able to do something. We're definitely not going to be able to, because you can't kill trolls only doing 20 points of damage at a time, because they do regenerate, but still. I just lost a night town here. Month of the Plague, I didn't really have a lot of options, but Vesper's going to have to be a little bit more on his game. I think it's time to split these dragons, actually. Okay, let's consider. Is that better or worse to split the dragons? Spell points, 8. For the castle fight up here, it's going to be very useful. Tell you what, we're gonna beat Sabu. We're gonna take this castle back from Vitania. We're gonna keep the dragons split as opposed to being in the single stack. I do think it's gonna be worthwhile. We're gonna lose some centaurs there, so be it. And we're gonna take the We're gonna take the logistics. Logistics is just so good. And the worry about having the dragons split versus combined is always whether or not you're going to be able to take a hit and continue to put out punishment fairly safely. Folks, I was correct. For the very first time, we are getting a good look at the center of this map, and there's going to be a dragon city in the very center. And if we were unable to do this strategy where we took the Warlock Castles, I think that this is still potentially viable. But say that we pop out of this lith, you're going to have to go through 1-2 dragons at least, then have the opportunity to fight black, red, and green dragons. You're going to have to be really tough. And it's more than I would want to fight even now, even with these forces I have now. If I didn't have dragons, I definitely would not be feeling that fight. So, viable? Viable, ultimately not, but I'm glad that there's some opportunities. I think in a late game situation, it's the difference between winning and losing. I think that this is potentially a very fun map to play against other players. But against the PC, it's tough. It's tough to know if the PC is going to effectively fight for the center and for those opportunities. Oftentimes, maps like the Jeebus Cross from Heroes of Might and Magic 3, it features a treasure cache in the very center, because then the players need to effectively balance being aggressive, effectively balance getting their heroes stronger and tougher all the time, and effectively balance the speed of getting to those artifacts and those opportunities in the center before the opponent does. And the AI is, I mean, you can't program the AI to just recognize a big treasure cache in the very center. You'd have to give it some real dictated advantages or information that the player doesn't have. And so a map type like this works way better for player versus player than player versus the AI or against the environment. But I really like the idea. I'm for it. I really am. Yeah, very, very much for it. I do wonder, as I've been looking at some of the maps being made in the FHeroes2 Discord, which, by the way, go check that out. There's a ton of wonderful map makers in there that are putting in tons and tons of work. And there's been a couple of those maps that we've enjoyed playing here on the Phixfox YouTube. Things, for example, Timberman. I really enjoyed Timberman, and that came from the FHeroes2 Discord. Or things like Steeson's Kids. He ended up posting that video or that map on the FHeroes2 Discord as well. I think that there's a lot of great maps out there, and I'm always interested to see what the design philosophy is from map designer to map designer, because it's different from every instance. And I love that. I'm glad that there's not just one template that works. Do all your forces stay in the center? Do you start in the edges? Is it a symmetrical map? Is it inherently not balanced to accommodate for different factions having viable opportunities? I'm just interested to see how people do stuff. And I'm grateful again that there's people out there who are very creative and like to share this great game with other people. So if you are interested in sharing this game with other people, I hope that you take the time to kind of show them the ropes, sit down with them as a friend and teach them not maybe everything all at once, but enough for them to get through a single game so that way they can decide if they want to play it with you again or not. I always worry that I'll share a game with somebody and then I'll realize that, oh, I was a little too enthusiastic and now I've turned them off to it. I did a little bit too hard of a sell and now they're saying, I don't know if I want to deal with this or with you. But however you do it, I hope that you get the opportunity to share the things that you love with people. As I'm getting close to my second child being on the way, and it's getting closer all the time. My wife and I the other night, we had a moment where we were both, it's December, baby is coming in the middle of the month. We are in the month of our new baby's birth. As we accept 34 power liches, no, I don't think it's worth it. I realize that I very, very much like the idea of getting to share these things that I enjoy with my kids. And if it's not your kids, then maybe a very close, trusted friend or a parent or a sibling or whoever the case is. a special someone. Oh my gosh, if you are the type of person that takes somebody on a Heroes of Might and Magic date, then you are my favorite kind of person, and I want you to take pictures and send it to me on the FHeroes2 Discord and say, hey, this is me and my special sweetheart when we went and we did our Heroes of Might and Magic date, and I showed them all about the game Phixfox, just like you said, and now here we are years later and we're married. I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but still, whatever the case is, I like a good love story. I enjoy people being happy. And so yeah, if that's the kind of thing that intrigues you, please, I would always love to hear your success stories in taking someone on a Heroes of Might and Magic date. And I will say no more on the matter because I'm sure that some of you are rolling your eyes right now being like, oh, Phixfox. Oh, Phixfox. Come on, man. Okay. Back to the game. We've been playing at a fairly fast pace, but we've also been able to prevent the enemy from taking a sizable chunk of their territory back. The less or the shorter that an enemy's turn takes, that means that you're having less contact with them. That means that unless that they're staying in one of these castles, then they are in a place where they're not going to really bother us. And so there's about half of the map here still to be explored. And eventually we're going to get to the point where all of the map is explored, but they are all currently huddled in their corners. They are hoping that we leave them alone for a long enough time for them to get better. If we go over here to our Thieves Guilds, I don't know why the enemies don't build Thieves Guilds, but they don't like to generally. Then we can see that Orange players officially on their ropes. Orange doesn't even have a hero. Crazy. They've got a town or a castle somewhere. They are under severe duress. And then we see bone dragons everywhere. We do see black dragons for the red player. Well, that's me. I'm the red player. But blue does still have, with Wilfrey, those titans. There's going to be an epic clash, but our total army strength is second now instead of first. I don't know. We're going to see. We are going to see. We have now picked up our second black tower, so we're pumping out plenty of dragons a week, and we do again have the opportunity in the very center of the map to make even more happen. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to head to the very center of the map. Let's purchase everybody here, and if we have to come back later, so be it, but I do want to get a good push into the center so we can liberate dragons from this area. Not to mention, they're worth tons of experience. Not to mention, I think that they've got nice artifacts. Not to mention, it just feels like we need to thoroughly win this map. This lost continent, if you will. Which now, I mentioned Jurassic Park earlier. This is like Jurassic Park: The Lost World. That's what this lost continent was. Dragon City does have a few of these dragon defenders. We're going to lose some troops. I'm going to drop off these mummies. I don't really want them. Don't really need them. Nice to know that there is a marketplace here, though. Can these be upgraded? They can. But of course, no dragons to be found later. Did we ever get pathfinding? No, we took the wisdom instead. Well, let's see. I'm going to go through a horde of air elementals. I'm going to try and force the enemies back this way. I want to keep the enemies in front of me. I don't want to have anybody behind me. Vesper is waiting to kind of hold this edge just in case somebody comes up in this direction or this direction, but I don't know who that would necessarily be. Again, because Orange only has the one hero left. Let's meet up. Let's get all of our forces together on the same page. And what's Purple going to do? Are they going to continue to go north, or are they going to go back south? They do go back south. Except for you. This one little misfiring brain cell. It is going to be Croto, who we've had to deal with him in the past. I'm not saying he's my most favorite or my least favorite. I don't have favorites. I treat everybody equally. Except for Jaclyn. She is awesome at a level 11. So her job is going to be to care for the dragons, make sure that everything stays fine here after we head south in just 1 second. Time for the luck. I do believe that that was our last secondary skill. So traveling through the snow, not a great idea, but there's somebody over here, and this does seem like it's the most direct path to get here. And so we shall. So we shall trudge through the snow. And we do see... I feel like I'm trying to do too many things at once with just one hero. This is the time where I combined my forces into these 17 black dragons because I was thinking about heading here, but then I got detoured, and now I feel like I really just need a secondary hero that can manage these small forces here. I don't even have a goblin hut I can really purchase there, so we shall do nothing. And I do wonder how much damage purple is doing to their friends. Aha! Rathmont. There is a castle here, and there are going to be bone dragons there, so this was a good reason to go out of our way. That feels pretty good. I was questioning whether that would be worth it or not, because I'm, again, kind of giving up this avenue for the enemies to get behind me, and prefer to keep all the enemies in front of me. We'll be able to come back later. 60 of the mutants, or the mummies, do go down. I'm going to accept those losses. They were free. They joined me out of the goodness of their heart. They desired for greater glory, and they did find glory in death, which for a mummy is actually kind of what you could expect out of them. I mean, you're already dead. It's just kind of what you should expect. Day 7, soon to get black dragons. And Orc Chief growth is up. I'm going to finish this scenario tonight, but I know that it's getting very, very late for me. Thankfully, I've got a little bit of a flexible work schedule, which I say that, and what that really means is that when there's work to do, I stay late and I work until the work is done, and then I just don't work as much for the rest of the week because I run out of hours. That's kind of what I mean there. But that has happened, and so I know that tomorrow I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn. I do have a little bit of flexibility this week because I just had a little bit of a later night tonight prior to me starting up this video, and I'm happy for it because then I don't feel nearly so bad about looking at the clock and seeing that it's currently 12:30, but it does affect me. Boy, I remember a time when I could play games all night long. And then in the very same breath, I want you to hear that I do also remember the times where I was playing games all night long, and then it was a snow day the following day, which was entirely unexpected, and I felt like I got away with something. And I've been chasing that high ever since then. I've been chasing the high of being irresponsible with my gaming habits, and then realizing, oh wait, no, I'm fine. I don't actually have to go to school today. Unfortunately, as an adult, I don't really have school days. Your employer, for some reason, believes that even if it's unsafe, you should still find a way to get to work. What can I say? I understand. If I've been the boss before, I've called the shots, I've trained, I've had to get people on board with the culture and the expectations, and people come from a lot of different walks of life. I get the understanding where somebody who's paying the bills says, look, I need you to work when you're scheduled. But also, if it's dangerous, it's not worth my life, or my vehicle for that matter, to try and make it through a blizzard. I really appreciate the folks in Europe who enjoy these videos because one of the comments, oh, who was it? I want to say it was Chris. Maybe it was Chris, maybe it was Steeson. It was one of our friends in Europe. They said, oh, I forget all the time that America is actually much further south than my country. It must have been somebody from Norway or Sweden in that case. Maybe, so if it was Denmark, it must have been Steeson. But they were mentioning, they were saying, well, I forget how much further south, closer to the equator, the United States is. And it truly is when you look at the globe and you look at the parallels and all that. And so, when it comes down to snow and things of that nature, I'm sure that I am not nearly so hardy of a folk as the folks are across the globe and in other parts of the Phixfox community who say, yeah, snow happens. And so you got to figure out a way to deal with it. My neck of the woods, my area, generally what you find is the very first snow of the year, people have forgotten how to drive. it's really nice weather in my area. I would say about 6 months out of the year. And so then the other 6 is kind of rough because people just forget. They forget how to drive and they have to be reminded, and often they are reminded with a crash. Or at least that's what it feels like. Thankfully, I get the opportunity to watch other people crash, and then that's my reminder, oh yeah, wait, slow down, drive defensively, things like that. But I really can't complain. It's a good area that I live in. I do wonder if part of the reason for my inflexibility and my struggle was due to the weather. I have noticed in my life that when I've lived in warmer climates, that I tend to do much, much better. And whenever the temperature changes drastically, specifically the pressure that generally accompanies weather patterns, it does throw me off in a pretty meaningful and significant way. The first major weather change from fall to winter, from spring to summer, yeah, it throws me off. So weather changes, I would like to think as when I was younger that I wasn't affected by such things. As I get older, I feel like I'm a little bit more in tune with my body, a little bit more in tune with what I should expect out of myself. And that is probably the best example of knowledge is power. I think that anybody that spends the time to get to know themselves better is always going to be better off because of it. I sure have appreciated kind of maturing into an appreciation for what it takes to be balanced and healthy. I was an athlete in high school and college, and I thought of fitness and health strictly in the sense of how fast you can run a mile, how quickly you could do a 5K, how many pull-ups you could do, or whether or not you could dunk a basketball. These were the things that as a young person I measured your physical health by. And as I get older and less athletically inclined, less athletically, dominant. That's not the right word. Focused, I suppose. The more I realize that there's an awful lot that it comes down to. Health is not simply one thing. It's many things. And I continue to hope that I gain a greater appreciation for that. Folks, we are going to take the expert wisdom, and oh my goodness, Wilfrey has got a pack of titans, and several of these bone dragons. He has walked up to us boldly, brazenly, and very stupidly. For this reason, folks, we know that he has 5 attack, 5 defense. We have 7 attack, 11 defense. Actually, that's not nearly as good as I thought we had. Hold on. I thought that we were doing way better than that. No. Maybe we need to go find that ultimate artifact. Oh, this is it. This is that ultimate artifact that was in the trees, I'm guessing. Right here? No, that doesn't look quite right. There's a mountain range and then trees. There's an obelisk. That's not it. It's not that one either. So I missed. I thought it was right here. I was completely incorrect. Oh, here maybe? I don't know. But maybe the ultimate artifact is actually more valuable than I think, because this is actually a big fight. Several bone dragons, though. I still think we win. Horde, lots, pack. I still think that we win. But knowing that I just picked up the expert wisdom makes me wonder if it'd be worthwhile to do something else. Like, go pick up some nice 5th level spells and then fight this fight. Tell you what, let's do it anyway. The enemy has fled. It's going to be pretty costly, but it's going to cost them way more than it's going to cost me. I think part of the reason why I feel so cavalier about this fight is, number one, I feel pretty tough, and number two, I know that I have the get out of jail free card with the expert diplomacy and the statesman's quill, so I can surrender with very, very, very little cost. I wonder how I can make this fight go even better for me. I think that the mass curse is going to be it. If for no other reason than that is going to dictate that they either bless or dispel their titans in order to get meaningful damage off, I think that that's going to be worthwhile. It's going to save another spell that they could have otherwise used against me. Folks, Wilfrey the Wizard, 5 attack, 5 defense, 8 spell power, 11 knowledge, great morale, great luck, 110 spell points. Sir Gallant the Knight, 7 attack, 11 defense, 1 spell power, 6 knowledge, blood morale, great luck, 48 spell points. Of course, we just used 12 just a moment ago. I hate this terrain. It forces me to go towards these Titans, which I don't think I really need to do, but I'm going to do because I can't effectively get into these Archmagi. Steel Golem, step up 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be blocked off from the Archmagi. It's going to have to be Griffins that go and deal with them. We're going to take some full damage there. Again, the curse, let's see what they do with this. Anti-magic. It's not a bad spell. In fact, it might be the best spell they could have cast. Okay, so we are taking damage. I see no reason why we ought to do anything other than do tons of damage in kind. So, 1 Titan perishes, 1 Black Dragon goes down. We are taking damage. And funny enough, the Bone Dragons here, they kind of hurt your morale for Wilfrey. Okay, yeah, sure, fine. They do also bring down my morale by 1. I don't know. I don't know. Good addition, bad addition. I think ultimately, I think I would have personally left the Bone Dragons behind. Tough to say, though. Tough to say. Disrupting Ray is going to work on somebody if I want it to. Who's going to be tough? Steel Golems, maybe. Archmagi, even. The damage from my spells is nothing. It's inconsequential. Is a Bless better for somebody? Is blessing these champions actually going to be worthwhile? How much damage are we going to do? Between 93 and 187 damage? Ha! So I say no. And also, that's silly. Don't talk to me or my child ever again. Dispel magic. Can I dispel the anti-magic? No. In Heroes of Might and Magic 3, I think if you have like expert water magic, I think you can dispel anti-magic. I'm going to have to look into that. But that does not work here in Heroes 2. I do think that the Disrupting Ray is going to be a good spell. There's going to be a lot of Steel Golems there. Let's start Disrupting Raying them. And let's get into the Titans. We're going to take some damage on the retaliation here. There goes an anti-magic on the Archmagi. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Is what it is. Good luck on the Minotaur Kings. 3 Bone Dragons goes down. There goes the Griffins as they were remaining. But now we're going to be able to attack the Titans without the retaliation because the champions took it just a second ago. Ouch. Everybody's getting a piece of me today. Goodness gracious. 1 champion, thankfully, is going to take this full retaliation from these Titans. Yes, that is my idea of a really good time. So let's do that. Blind on the Hydras. I also do have the anti-magic. We're going to see about that in just a second. We're going to see how useful that is. 173 damage from these Archmagi. Still got to focus on the Titans, especially since we get a free shot off before they get to do some kind of crazy retaliation. Ooh, good luck and then good morale on these Steel Golems. I don't love that. One more time, baby. One more time. Let's bring you down to 6 defense. It's going to be a lot of bonus damage. And then we're going to get the Hydras cleared up in just a moment. I might, depending on how many Minotaurs are left over. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wish that the Titans didn't get good morale there. I was wondering about taking a detour down south to deal with these Archmagi really quickly, but they're doing 173 damage. Titans are doing like 328. I think you still gotta defeat these Titans before you do anything else. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Oh no, it's next turn. Next turn, on my Black Dragon's turn, I'm going to need to anti-magic my Hydras. Zing. Okay, perfect. But we're still ahead of the 8 ball. I don't love this fight. We're losing massive amounts of forces, but we are climbing the mountain. We are getting ahead of this. We're going to do one more big hit on these Titans. We're going to kill them probably with this next retaliation. The Archmagi are covered up. Now I'm going to start attacking these Steel Golems. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. 7 hit points here. Everybody's anti-magicked. There's no spells that matter. Immune to magic, immune to magic, immune to magic, immune to magic, immune to magic. There's nobody here there's no spells I can cast. That's great. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 anti-magics, and then black dragons are naturally immune to magic. Let's see, can I cast this spell? Spell will have no effect. How about this spell? Nope, nothing. How about my stone skin? No, it's not gonna work. That's great. How often do you see something like that? 60 hit points left. Let's start working on these guys right here. Oh. I'm gonna back off. Dang. The damage worked out to where they were. Wait. I didn't think that the Hydras were gonna kill all the magi on that retaliation. And so that's why I backed the black dragons off. I was trying to get the damage right. I was trying to step right up close to the line right before the enemies would run, and then they would stick around, and that didn't happen. And now I feel sheepish because I should have won that fight outright, but because at the very end, it's just a Phixfox. Loss of concentration. Ouch. That one hurts. We are going to see Wilfrey again, and he's still going to be pretty tough. We picked up an extra level, though. We still have 7 black dragons. We are still the power in this area, and in fact, purple's power is more or less, dare I say, broken. It was a worthwhile fight, but you can't help but wish that you had done things just a little bit differently. And so, we are now to this point, hoping that we can actually find this ultimate artifact, because I think that that's going to go really pretty well for us, if only we can do so. But I've already completely miscalculated where it is once. Is there any reason why I should believe that I can do better now? Time will tell. 2 purple heroes, 3 purple heroes, very, very close to the upper right corner, and then this guy sneaking through to Yorksford. Let me just purchase bone dragons. Oh, let's just purchase everybody. Whoa. Hey, Natasha's back. Is she good? She's all right. She is okay, and so we shall take her. Sometimes I forget to just look to see if I can find somebody who's an improvement, and she is absolutely an improvement. She can absolutely defeat Aerie, and she can provide even more pressure on the map. It's counterintuitive to think that, oh, if I don't hire more heroes and I simply go and fight and be quick on the map, I can finish the map earlier. Often it's not true. Even in real time and turns in combat and turns on the battlefield, more heroes generally do make things go faster anyway. I tend to default to 1 hero, especially at this point when I'm struggling with concentration, because it's just easier for me to keep track of. I just have fewer priorities to deal with at any given moment, and therefore I'm able to make the right decisions more often. Now, that's also a very, very weak way of saying, yeah, I don't really have a good reason, but this is the best reason I can come up with at the moment. So that's my excuse. Take it or leave it. We're going to lose Hector here. Very sad. And yeah, purple is, again, purple feels like they're behind me. Vampire Lord growth goes up. Halon the Wizard. I think that we definitely defeat Halon. I don't think he's taken into account my defense and my attack skill. I think he's about to get smoked. Enemy has fled. 1 black dragon. I'm going to accept that. Maybe I could do better. Maybe I couldn't, but I'm going to accept that for now. Myra, we have caught up to her. We're going to defeat her. And more than focus on Castor, I'm going to come back in a second. I want these boots, these traveler's boots. I want to be fast. Fast as a speeding bullet. Fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know. I'm trying to be fast here, you know? And traveler's boots, well, traveler's boots make me go real fast. So that's what we're going to do. Area is continuing to be a pain. Yeah, as soon as I find that 1 obelisk, then that ultimate artifact is in the bag. Wilfrey is back. He's in the bottom left corner. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. And I do have more dragons available, but I do feel the pressure from this hero in the water right behind me. It's going to be Hector because he's got the pathfinding. And so I don't know if I don't think I want to purchase everybody here, but I will purchase, let's see, leave the Hydras, take the Minotaurs and the Gargoyles. Leave everybody else. That's what we're going to do. Because yeah, I don't know what Ariel's going to do. I don't know what she wants. I don't think that she knows what she wants either, but who can say? Jezebel, level 2 Barbarian. Good pickup. Happy to see her again. And still we continue on. Leaving behind one single Gargoyle as Hector the Knight gets strong. And I don't need to fight Wilfrey, but 5 Titans, yeah, his power is broken. His advantage before was not statistical, other than strictly numbers, and since we've equalized in that regard, I don't think that we need to concern ourselves with Wilfrey too much longer. 2 heroes in the water still, 1 hero just landed there, so we have a little bit more flexibility. And these purple heroes are scurrying around. Unicorns don't stand a chance. Discovering a pair of beautifully beaded boots made from the finest and softest leather. You thank the anonymous donor and add the boots to your inventory. What a horrible flex. Poor Castor's like, he didn't even spend the time to come get me. He just got his boots. And folks, major event. Orange player has been vanquished. Terrific. Fantastic. They were waiting in White Shield, unable to upgrade that. I suppose they were lacking wood or ore or something like that. The enemy has fled in their cowardice. They've spent a small amount of gold in order to bribe my hero to leave them alone, which I think is fair. I mean, I think it's fair for a hero to say it's not about honor. It's about staying alive. And if you have gold as a resource, you might as well use it to stay alive. I'm going to fight Ariel. I don't think she has a chance, and even if she gets around me, she should be too slow because of the dwarves. Jezebel is really a throwaway hero. I'm going to sleep her. Have her just wait her turn until I call upon her. Otherwise, don't bother me by saying that you haven't done anything special today. 3 yellow heroes go to the very tip of that peninsula? That's odd behavior. Sandro, Tyro, Dimitri, they must be running away from somebody big. Somebody big must be coming after them, and this just feels like the only place that they can effectively run to. Glorious victory there. I'm going to pick up the scouting. There's still enough of this map to be explored. I'd like to make the most appropriate decisions whenever I can. There's an observation tower right here. That's going to help me make good decisions. Hector is going to defeat our friend here. Glorious victory. No dragons lost. We're going to take the basic luck, and we're going to help go south, just in case anyone tries to squirt up through my clutches, as we almost had Aerie do so right there. Jaclyn is making waves. And I think at this point that we are strictly playing mop-up. I don't know who can possibly have enough strength to defeat me, at least to challenge me. Because I think that the enemies did end up fighting each other an awful lot. I believe that yellow, I think that a lot of bone dragons died. Probably fighting, not dragons, but fighting titans. I think that that was more than just likely. I think that that's absolutely what happened. A few titans, several titans, pack of bone dragons, yeah. I think that these numbers are, considering it's month 3, week 4, day 4, I think that there's been an awful lot of losses that we just weren't privy to seeing because it was happening on the other side of the world. But the walls are closing in. The world's getting a little bit smaller for our enemies here. And thank goodness I don't have to fight every battle. Oh my goodness, the auto combat is terrific. And especially knowing that a certain amount of losses are acceptable. You know, a couple of swordsmen here, a couple sprites, a couple of whatevers. As long as you keep the dragons, they're going to obliterate for you. This should be enough dragons with Sir Gallant. We're going to skirt along the coast here, and we're going to head north. Vesper is going to simply go and defend. We're going to let Astra be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. That's a general chant that people do in high school sports. Or at least that's what they want you to believe in movies. And so it's some writer who vaguely remembers high school. It's their recollection of what a cheerleader should have done. And so, anyway. Major event. Purple player's been vanquished. Orange is down. Purple is down. We never did... That was purple. That was purple. So we finally defeated our Warlock friends. We took their castles, and eventually that was enough to push them out. I feel great about that. Good work, Phixfox. Nicely done. Okay. Ector is still continuing to head south. If a hero goes into the boat and they get behind us in the whirlpool, we will deal with that soon. It's day 5. We got time. There's that other hero, and they're actually pretty far away from that whirlpool. I'm not too concerned. Weird little peninsula there. I think I can just trust Jaclyn to fight this fight, and I shall. A little bit of a miss on the logistics here, but green player's now been vanquished, so it was purple, green, orange, not in that order. And now it is down to the blue wizard, the red knight, and the yellow necromancers. And the necromancers have been looking like they're running scared, absolutely terrified of their own shadows. And so I'm not worried about them, still worried about blue. We've already broken blue's main offensive force. We are now heading south with dragons, bone dragons, and more. In fact, I think, let's see, I think that we're just going to let Natasha take over the duties of the Black Dragon Horde from Ector. Well done. Well done. The morale is bad, but Natasha's still going to do this. We're going to sleep Ector. He's going to just be a speed bump in history. She picks up a new observation tower, hopefully letting us know what to do next. I don't know where this ultimate artifact is. I have not seen the obelisk that is surrounded by trees and has mountains to the south. It might be over here. I might have missed it. Yeah, it might be over here. That just looks more like swampy terrain, but then this doesn't look like this is changing biomes anytime soon. So forgive me for being misled in my own reasoning and supposition of where the ultimate artifact was. I admit I was wrong. For this, I am deeply sorry. I like this. I like that you have this idol in the very center of these rocks, and it looks like it's an Easter Island and Stonehenge sort of conglomeration. I like that. I think that that's some nifty, interesting map design. Interesting in the beauty and the diversification of what we can possibly see. I wonder if I can steal White Shield for free. I'm going to be a little too far away to get to it before day 1. And what am I even going to find there? Maybe halflings and boars, but still. Worth a shot. Another resupply from home. Sandro. Do I have enough forces here to defeat him? No. I don't want him to get away. He'll buy his friends to the south some more time, but not much. And then Vesper. He's going to go right here anyway. Jaclyn's got a big force of dragons. Here's Wilfrey. Jaclyn is, remember, just as good of a hero as Gallant in many ways. He's level 20, she's level 13. 9 and 6 for the attack and defense versus 9 and 11 though. So he's got a higher level, he's got some more secondary skills, he's got some other advantages, especially the leadership. But I still think that with her 12 dragons and these 3 bone dragons, even with just good morale instead of excellent morale, I think that Natasha should feel, or rather Jaclyn should feel okay about this fight. Let's give her a shot anyway. Let's let her test her strength, test her mettle as it were. Okay. Wilfrey does wisely run. I do wonder where Yellow's final hero is. And thankfully we went in this direction because we do find a sorceress castle. I did not know that was there. Nice to have that. Hopefully soon it will be in the rearview mirror. Ah, Xanadu. Nice pickup. Let's see. I don't know which side of the map feels better to play on. I think that the sorceress, if this is the sorceress starting castle, I think that sorceresses might actually have the best opportunity on this map to win. Maybe I'm wrong, but it does depend on where their starting castle is, how close it is to the warlocks and things like that. But this nifty little terrain, this little bay, and then this little sliver of land, I could see this being a good base of operations again to kind of keep people in front of you. And still we go. And still we kill halflings. All the halflings. Very sad. Blue turns around twice. It's a chance that we kill blue before we actually kill yellow, funny enough. Not something you would expect at this point, since I think the blue is still the more powerful of the heroes, but they are really putting themselves in more danger than I am. Yeah, folks, when Jaclyn is defeating their strongest hero, you know that things are really, really looking down for you. Natasha's going to continue to explore. Glad that we found that barbarian castle before too much else happened. And Vesper feels adventurous. He will continue south. I suppose that there is Dragon Watch. Let's see if we can go back and get that, actually. Okay. Another barbarian castle. One black dragon. I'm going to accept that loss. And yellow player's been vanquished. Okay, and so it is yellow that goes down before blue. But we are quickly approaching the time that this map is wrapping up. And I am glad that I was able to get a little bit of, call it retribution, call it revenge, call it peace of mind. Truly, peace of mind to know that this is not the movie Space Jam and the little aliens are not stealing all of my power from me for their own inscrutable purposes. This is going to be Jaclyn the Barbarian, 9 attack, 6 defense, 2 power, 2 knowledge, good morale, Irish luck, 16 spell points versus Rialdo the Necromancer, 1 attack, 2 spell power, 2 knowledge, poor morale, normal luck. Yeah, nice to know that I still can win a game of Heroes of Might and Magic. That feels pretty good. For it. Lightning bolt, 50 points of damage. This is a big, I mean, I definitely believe that I'm going to lose at least one dragon. In fact, I'm going to hit auto combat here because I want to cast a spell. I'm going to cast a spell. Where do I cast it? Blind. I am going to end up moving forward with this. I'm going to blind the Crusaders, and then I'm going to hit auto combat here because I do want to see how the AI fights this. I think you're correctly prioritizing the bone dragons. I do think that by blinding the Crusaders, I've given myself a big opportunity to avoid tons of damage. I do think that you are forced to do that spell there. Oh, thank goodness they got bad morale. Hitting auto combat doesn't always mean that the AI is going to use spells like they ought to. And so that could have been an opportunity where they could have done even better by blinding those Crusaders one more time. Folks, we do lose one black dragon. We did toast 3 of our own bone dragons. So trying to manipulate the system just a little bit actually cost us more troops. Whoops. That's what I get for thinking I'm smarter than the AI. You know, if you've been around, you've probably heard my discussion on the AI and how I compare to it. I have to start, if I'm to retell my general thoughts though, for people come and go all the time, right? All the time, people are coming and going, and I never know if it's the same people every video or not. And so forgive me, not if, but when I reiterate a certain point. But hopefully I can still make it fairly interesting, even if you've heard my general thoughts before. The AI and me we have to start with the playthrough of Ghost Planet. I was playing through Ghost Planet, a wonderful map by Charles Watkins, and I realized that there was a fight that I could not win, but that the AI absolutely obliterated. Now, thankfully, I was able to learn some of the basic, essential tactics that helped the AI be very, very successful. One of which was, dude, just spam summon elemental. You don't actually have to win the scenario based off of your own metal. Just increase the amount of troops you have, and you're going to be feeling pretty good. Okay, pretty obvious stuff, but even so, even when I knew that strategy, I couldn't actually make the scenario go my way. It was incredible. And it was an example of a time where the AI in major fights does better than Phixfox because it is much more precise and it keeps good track of exactly how much damage it should do, and it'll make the best choice based off of the facts and figures right before it. Whereas oftentimes I will, if you notice, listen to my heart, and I will do some very generalized approximations of, well, this should be about right, or, well, this should be close enough. And often what you find for that is, for me, it's a very much big picture sort of orientation, and that has served me very, very well. If you were to exactly calculate every single stat and statistic and stack size on this map, I am sure that you would spend a lot of time and it would feel like you were in math class. You would not be having a lot of fun. But the AI can do it, and it can do it very, very quickly. And I really, truly believe that if you take the time to look at the very minutia of the game from moment to moment, you're going to be very, very successful in playing. And the AI does a very, very good job at that. Places where Phixfox excels over the AI, whereas the AI focuses on the small details, there are some tactics that the AI simply can't replicate. The FHeroes2 AI has done a very, very good job. Earlier, we saw stack sizes that were a single stack of sprites at the very, very top, and then the big stack of sprites below that, because it manipulated the turn order in a way that the sprites were going to have to take the retaliation from my skeletons rather than, the one sprite was going to die to the retaliation versus the big stack of 16 sprites. It wasn't retaliation, it was turn order. 4-speed creature flies across the battlefield, skeletons kill it on their turn, and then the 16 come in and do that. That's a tactic that the FHeroes2 team members designed in, right? They put that in there. As good as the programmers are, there are some limitations to exactly what they can do. That's just kind of the reality of the situation. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to be some of the first people to tell you that. It's going to be very difficult for them to make an AI that is so flexible that it can correctly identify some obscure strategy at any given moment. And I don't think that you're going to find that often. I really don't. And so big picture type stuff and knowing some specific strategies, I think that a player can always have an advantage there. And in fact, I think that we should. I think that we should really have an advantage there. As much as possible. I think that if it ever comes down to man versus machine, get creative. Throw the rulebook out the window and just go do something new and fun. And let's see if it works or not, but it'll ultimately depend on the AI and how well it does trying to navigate that new challenge that you throw at it. So tactically, there are things that I can do that the AI doesn't do. And there's times where I will excel where the AI will fail. And there's times where I will fail where the AI will excel. So very interesting maybe for you if you are listening to my, what do you call this? My thesis, my suppositions, my discourse on man versus machine when it revolves around Heroes of Might and Magic. Maybe it'd be interesting for you as a player to try and figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and just try and figure out what works best for you. What's what things can you learn from the Heroes of Might and Magic 2 AI? Because I've been playing Heroes of Might and Magic for a long time, and I can tell you that I've learned a lot from the Heroes of Might and Magic 2 FHeroes2 AI. Take that for what it's worth. Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Folks, if you didn't notice, we lost a fight there. Joe Josh has Titans. There's like 15 Titans or something. I think that with the combination of all these other dragons, I think we're going to be okay, but man, you know, it's just not what you had in mind. I'm glad that the AI is still fighting so well towards the end of the scenario. That's wonderful. I'm very much for that. But just, I don't know, maybe not unexpected, but yeah, okay, a little unexpected. I thought this scenario was definitely in the bag. I really, truly did. We're going to hop into the boat. There's a whirlpool here that's going to take us over here. We're going to hop over there. We're going to have one more hero bring over these troops, and we're going to call it a day in just a second. I think we'll be able to reach. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so 4 blue heroes right there. Jaclyn is skulking her way into this terrain. I don't actually know if Maximus is best off getting to our destination by going through the whirlpool to get to there, or if he's best sailing down. Because it looks like blue is kind of heading up. I think the blue understands that I'm still tougher than them in a lot of ways. You know what? Let's just sail to here. It's still going to be a little bit faster than if we walked, but not by much. Truly not by much. In fact, it might not even be. It might not even be. We'll see. But that'll help us actually do a pincer attack a little bit better. That'll help us corral our enemies. Nobody's going to really leak out and escape into the flats like they otherwise would have. I hope that Jaclyn gets to run because she's been a great hero for me. But with 1 2-speed Hydra, something tells me probably not. Yeah, probably not. She did her best. Yeah, really good hero. Really good hero. Okay, at least we're going to bring down Wilfrey. Hey, does it pay to have traveler's boots on you? I think so. Not to mention the logistics. I think so. Not to mention you've got 3-speed golems. Yeah, I think so. Okay, the enemy has fled. Before they were obliterating us. Now they have to run, and they just surrendered basically 10 Titans. Unless Gwyneth has the bulk of the forces here. I don't know. Maximus is going to continue to sail south. Blue is probably going to scatter in all directions, so that way we have to choose who we fight. Oh no, they should have scattered. They chose not to. We'll come back for Dragonville later. There's one. That's a big fight. This is probably going to be the final fight, and so let's just fight this fight out. A Bless there. I don't hate that spell, but when I have a Mass Curse, that's going to go an awful long way for me. 14 Titans. Yeah, they're doing 144 back. They don't even kill one full black dragon when they do their attack and retaliation. Moving forward, we're going to deal with all these guys, and the losses are going to be much better simply because of the curse. In this case, the curse could be useful just to mitigate the bless. Is there a better spell? No, I think curse is going to save the most amount of damage. 9 down to 7 on the Titans, down to 8 there. Oh, and we're just going to blitz these Archmagi. It's going to be the Crusaders that do tons of damage. Probably should have had the Crusaders attack the Bone Dragons. I got a little ahead of myself. The double damage to the undead is just really good. And let's be real, 5 Bone Dragons is still a significant investment in Bone Dragons. We have set ourselves up nicely for a double hex attack. I think we're going to use that now. Plenty of damage there. And these Minotaur Kings are going to eat this retaliation. They stay alive though, which is good. That's one less round of worrying about Titans doing full damage that I otherwise would have had to deal with. I will consider a blind and a fire breath and tons of damage. 1 and 2. close. 36 hit points left. Sad. Bye-bye. Nearly 6,000 experience there. That was still a pretty big fight. I will corral Joe Josh in this direction. I will sort of cow him in the opposite direction from Maximus. And now Maximus says to himself, oh, well, if they're going to turn in that direction, then surely we do want to go through the whirlpool. I agree. And then that whirlpool is actually going to take us in a really nice direction. Some troops fall overboard, 20 of the goblins down to 10. That's why I took them along for the journey. Then we're going to land over here. And might as well clear out what I can while I'm here. It'll save me time in the long run. And, oh, I really don't want Maximus to fight people as level 4 knight. And so let's actually have Sir Gallant track these vagabonds, these vagrants down one by one until they are slain. Enemy has fled. It's going to cost them 9 titans. It's going to cost me 2 black dragons. Those are acceptable losses, all things considered. And then, rather than go all the way up, kind of in a defensive position, I was going to go land near my barbarian castle. I think that we can do a lot of good here, because these enemies aren't really going north in massive amounts. Halon can leak up this way if he really wants to, but yeah, I don't know what these enemies are doing. A few, Joe Josh. Glorious victory. Glorious victory. And then I feel better about Maximus moving in this direction. Okay, there's a mountain range. We landed in the wrong spot. Okay. Logistics is a very important part of Heroes of Might and Magic, but the nice thing is it's also very forgiving. I know that earlier I talked about having a... Jeez. I'll accept that. I know I talked earlier about my basic video, how I'm going to have the advanced video, and then later the expert video. You don't need to have an expert grasp to enjoy Heroes of Might and Magic, thankfully. It's actually pretty forgiving, all things considered. It's easy for me to say that now that I'm at the end of a winning scenario. I mean, earlier I was sweating bullets, right? We talked about how I was sweating bullets in a lot of ways. But I do think that the logistics don't have to be so exact. And probably the place where the logistics have to be the most exact is whenever you're doing naval-to-naval combat or water logistics, and that's simply because it's less forgiving due to the fact that you have to have your boats unloading and unloading to maximize your effectiveness. It has to be much more precise. Otherwise, unless you have really slow troops like Hydras or Dwarves or Golems, yeah, I feel like the game is actually fairly call it forgiving when it comes down to logistics. Vesper, you traitor. You pitiful worm. Which I think is actually a difficulty level on the old Doom game. I gotta look at that in 1 second. If I make a reference like that, I have to know where it's from. You pitiful worm. Difficulty. What is that in reference to? I'm not too sure. Not too sure. Not knowing what something is in reference to. It reminds me. And this is what you get when you don't have chat to keep me on task. I had a dream, and it was the weirdest dream ever. It was a mix between the movie Memento and something new I've never really seen before. And here's how I mean. In this dream, I lost my memory. I was hit in the head, or I had a car wreck or something, and I lost my memory. I lost my memory. And I, of course, knew how to do some things, but not all things. Very particular information wasn't quite there. But at the same time, muscle memory things were. For example, Like I could go to a place I was already very familiar with or had been familiar with. And if there was like a key code that was muscle memory to punch it in, I could punch in the key code and somebody could say, well, how did you remember that? And I'm like, I didn't, I just did it. You know, things like that. And also much of the personality that I had remained intact, despite the fact that I had very little memory. And so then it was the kind of deal in my dream where I am coming up with references all the time. And I don't know if it was a matter of my brain making up new references that I had no idea what they were, or if it was references that I, because of my amnesia in my brain, in my dream, I just did not remember. But it was absolutely confusing to know that I'm using a reference, but not know what that's in reference to. And in the dream, in several instances, I would run across some popular instance of media or something, and I would realize, oh, that's where I got that from. That's why I say this one particular thing. And I have to admit, I do that to this day anyway. There are many times where I will say something and I will realize, oh, I find it in a movie, I find it in something, oh, that's why I say things this way, is because when I was a young person or a long time ago, I said this probably at first ironically, and then over time it just became part of my normal speech. And now I say this thing without even thinking about it. And if I had amnesia, would I continue to say these odd things? I don't know. But in the sense of a dream, it was a little bit nifty. Thank goodness I don't need to really diagnose my own dreams too much. I think that there's a huge branch of psychology and tons of studies on memories and dreams. More literature is out there on the subject than I think I care to know about. And not that it's not interesting, just that I don't know how I could have it serve me at this point in my life. So, a lot of literature out there if you're interested. And if you want to give me a book report or a synopsis on dreams and their meanings, and you can tell me what that dream means, please be my guest. Otherwise, if it's simply episodic and it simply is focusing on this one weird book idea that I should probably write a book on for that perspective, just let me know that too. Any feedback is always appreciated. But time for reading extra books at the moment, I have little of. Again, because baby is on the way and we are getting ready. We are not panicking, but we're excited. We're excited. Okay. Alrighty. Focus up. Folks, we're in the final couple of weeks here. Troyan is being silly. Astra is doing whatever. Black dragons are roaming the countryside, seeking my enemies. Seeking, I believe, a tasty meal, if nothing else. We have at least 1 or 2 castles left. We are trying to breach that general area. I'm hoping that these foes will turn around. I don't want them to get out any further. Troyan does. Somehow we cost her 1 bone dragon even. And so now let's continue here. I think Ranlu has done a good job. Maximus, it's your job to ensure that there's no other missing castles in this area. There's not. 1 crusader at a time is death by 1,000 paper cuts. But we shall continue. Etc., 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 so on and so forth. And I think I can confidently say that there is no big fights left to be had. Which, in case you ever wonder what my general philosophy is, that's one of the most important things I think that I can do for my kids, is if there's a fight to be had, let it be in my day so that they don't have to fight it. Tell you what, I'm not much of an activist. I'm not much of a person that feels like I need to make you believe things that I believe or do things the way I do things. But I'm a big fan of trying to make sure that people can get along and we have, you know, a system that works for everybody. And, man. There's a lot going on in this world, and I'll say no more about it. Folks, the enemy has fled. I'm going to accept that. And with that, I'm grateful that while the world may be wide and big and crazy and all these things, here in Heroes of Might and Magic, here on this lost continent, 5 other kings and queens have sent heroes and champions, and blue player's hero is the last to fall. Folks, that is the final major event. We are going to be victorious. We are going to claim victory. We have bested our enemies. We killed so many titans. That was so many titans. This is going to be a rating of a black dragon. I'm very happy to have gotten that rating. And I feel so strongly that this map does have a lot of early game RNG. And as the Knight faction, I don't know how you can possibly get ahead. I don't know how you can possibly get ahead if you don't get at least one patch of ore in the very beginning. I don't know, because we saw what happened. We saw what happened. If you don't get ore in the very beginning in at least one instance, you're going to be sunk. You're going to be struggling because you can't get pikemen, you can't get your swordsmen, and then you're going to end up being on week 3, finally getting pikemen for the first time, and that's just too slow. And so there's a little bit of luck here. I'm grateful that we were able to get this score. Rating of a black dragon. Does this make it to my high score list? I don't think so. It does not. For those of you who are interested, the current high score list is as such. You still have to crack a 251. That was the Surf and Turf playthrough in 73 days in order to get into my top high scores. I hope that your high scores are all black dragons too. I hope that there are some scores for your personal high score that you are proud of. I hope that you drop me a line actually and tell me what your favorite game of Heroes of Might and Magic you ever played was. Let me know. I'm interested if there's one that comes to your mind where you say, yeah, I am particularly proud of this playthrough, then I'm very interested to know in what that is for you. I'm happy that has every one of these playthroughs been on camera? Yes, except for the pyramid ones. That one is again lost to the history books, but the score remains. And if you ever want to know if I actually did this correct or not, I believe you can talk to Rise to Ruin. They'll let you know. They were there. They were there. Folks, thank you for the time. Thank you for the energy. I'm grateful to be back. I'm grateful to be energized, revitalized. I'm thankful for Heroes of Might and Magic for being such a great game, for the community and the opportunities that it provides. Folks, my name is Phixfox. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Until that time, take good care of you, your friends, and your family. Until I see you next time, I am out. Peace.